In the proud spirit of America and in the proud spirit of our great country,
I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
Jesse Merl, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, sir.
If you guys are first time here, welcome. If you're a regular, thank you for coming back. Thank you for supporting the podcast. Please like and share, subscribe, send us out because we need you guys' help to get this out. I know I said every time, but it's facts. Like this stuff just gets embedded in their algorithm, and if you guys don't help us out, this doesn't go anywhere. So we need your help.
That applies to all of my viewers. You guys have to follow Sean Johnson Pod if you watch this. That's a mandatory.
You have to.
You have to, dude.
All right, let's go. Elon Musk. This dude never ages, by the way.
In the next 6 to 12 months, we'll be doing our first implants for vision, where even if somebody's completely blind, we can write directly to the visual cortex. But long term, you would have very high resolution and be able to see in multispectral wavelengths. You could see in infrared, ultraviolet, radar. It's like a superpower situation.
When did he say this was going to happen?
6 to 12.
6 to 12 months? See, this is cool. I like this.
Yeah, me too.
It's a little nerve-wracking, but I feel like the technology is in the hands of the right person.
I agree.
If you're going to put it in somebody's hands, I think he's the guy.
And you know how he proved it? By buying X and axing all of the censorship.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's like you couldn't have made a more definitive demonstration that if it's between this dude and whoever's doing it now, that's the guy.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine what would happen? Where would we be right now if he didn't buy X?
Oh, it is very dystopian.
People forget it was complete lockdown.
Yeah.
Wait, that was a time where you couldn't post anything that was out of the narrative, or they shut you down. They deleted your accounts.
People were getting banned for saying a man is not a woman. That exact text kicked off the platform.
Do you remember on all platforms, everybody was like talking about, my account just got taken down, and they were coming up with new ones. It was chaos at the time. It was, if it wasn't for Elon, I don't even know where we would be right now. Honestly, it changed everything.
I totally agree. The thing too is what really spooks me about what's going on right now is, and I was very firmly on, like this was one of my kind of core issues. You know, it's kind of like there's like the Charlie Kirk gets shot, and that's this huge kind of defining moment of the last, I don't know, call it 12, I mean, obviously the last 12, but like 12 to 18 months. And that seemed to be when the Israel issue really kicked up to a 12,
right.
You know, where it was like, there was a lot of people, you know, talking about it, but then it really got kicked up. And I listened to people talking about it, and I'll be totally honest about my, I don't know. I wasn't paying super close attention to the, you know, to the Israel issue at the time. And that's become much more, you know, obviously prevalent. We have no choice. We're in a war, you know. But as I'm listening to people talk about how they're going to vote, they're like, I'm voting Democrat because of this and that. And I'm like, okay, I'm not saying that I'm telling you how to vote. What I'm saying is you can't have a memory so short that you don't remember what they did. Like this was whatever. I'm worried about America. I'm not completely heartless. It's like, obviously I care about people getting, you know, killed, whatever, all over the place, wars, all of that. But we were under 100% tyrannical fascist attack right in our face. No one could deny it. It was right there. You felt handcuffed. You couldn't say anything. You couldn't do anything. There was nothing you could do. They just take your voice away, take away your ability to make money, fire you from your job, take away your social media. That was, to me, that was 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, what are we talking about, guys?
Yeah.
Like, I understand it's like, you know, goldfish brain, but how did this affect you? Maybe it's because because I have an overwhelming inclination to speak my mind. And so that felt like an assault on my family, but it was that. I mean, California took away our kids' medical exemptions. We had to leave the state because they were like, no, you have to inject your kid with 30 things that a doctor said are completely unsafe for your family. I'm like, what? So I don't know. I mean,
well, we're always playing catch up, right? We're playing catch up to the latest stuff that happened without looking forward. And this is what I'm always stressing with everybody is like, stop looking at what they're doing to you now. Yeah, you should be concerned. You should have your eye on it, and you should be advocating for change, for better. But they're already plotting the next 4 years, okay? This shit's only going to ramp up. It's only going to get more crazy up until the next election. And then whoever loses is going to start plotting for the next 4 years after that. So it's like we're in reactionary mode too much as a country.
Yeah. I am hoping that here's where my brain's at. We all know that anybody who's in this game is going to prioritize their own interests all the time, obviously. And you had a group over here whose priority is to destabilize the Middle East so that they can expand their interests. And they have a lot of power in the United States. I think that they believed that because of what had happened in between 2016, 2024, that they were like, no one's going to see anything we do. Like we can go hard in the paint. We can go as hard as we've ever gone because look at what we just pulled them out of, you know, like, cause in their mind, it's like, you know, listen, we had this guy, he's going to be out. We're gonna be able to do whatever we want. And they miscalculated by a long shot, what was going to happen in the event of, you know, we actually attack Iran, but also, and actually, maybe they didn't miscalculate that. Maybe they calculated that perfectly. But in terms of what the United States would accept, massive miscalculation. And also how short people's memories are. Like with me, perfect calculation. I'm like, because I'm still traumatized from what happened before, but you know, I'm not saying I necessarily have it right, but now all of a sudden they made themselves the core issue that people are fighting against. And I'm watching like, guys, they're bad.
Right.
But do you not remember this? Like,
well, there's a bunch of conservatives that are jumping on that wagon
yes.
right now. And I get it. War sucks. Iran, Israel, there's a lot of people dying. There was just a whole bunch of new attacks that the U.S. did just a couple of days ago. Right. And it looks bad.
Yeah.
We look horrible in this theater. And I don't want to be a part of it.
Me neither.
But just like you said, this is better than the alternative. And people cannot forget what they did to us.
Yep.
And if that's what they did to us back then, a few years ago, imagine what their next plan is.
Dude.
When they get back in control. But I don't know. We got issues.
We got big issues.
What did you think of so they had that roundtable meeting with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Tucker was there. What would you pick up off of that?
I love what. I mean, I can't, I mean, you know, it's easy to be a group that is not in power and say, here's what we're going to do because they can address the issue that is front and center. And I feel like I know them well enough to know that there's a 0% chance that they're going to align with any of the stuff that we were just talking about. So
is there any chance that people are going to vote for this though?
See, and I mean, if Tucker ran, I would vote for him for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know, but,
you think he would?
He keeps saying that he wouldn't. Yeah. You know, I mean, but at the same time, I just feel like the same thing happens no matter what you know, not the same exact, but it seems like people go in with the ideas of what they're going to do. They get there and no matter what position they're in, they find out like, oh yeah, no, you're not running things.
Yeah.
And it turns out that who needs to actually make sizable change are people like Elon buying X and being like, okay, well, yeah, we're opening this. You can't run society like this. I don't think they can undo that though. Like as long as Elon holds fast, because like, you know, on any of the other platforms, YouTube, Facebook, any of them, Meta, I mean, they have had to completely let go of we just ban people because of whatever, because they know competitively in business, everyone will go to X and that's a wrap business wise. And that's the ultimate incentive structure for corporations. You know what I mean?
What kind of banning do you get on YouTube from the content that you're putting out?
So I don't don't have any serious complaints at all actually about YouTube, but what I notice is that on certain topics, they will very obviously limit my reach to only my subscribers. Like no one new is going to see this video at all. Those topics generally being anything about Epstein, anything about, I mean, in my case, anything about Trump. Like if I say Trump at the beginning of the video, it's a wrap. If I have Trump on the thumbnail, nobody's going to see it under any circumstances. And I think that in my case, that is very easily explainable. I had a video that did 3.7 million views, the biggest video I've ever done, maybe a week or two after Butler. And it was about that woman who was directly behind the stage, who Trump goes down, and then she immediately pops up and she's just filming like this with her cell phone. I'm like, She looks pretty unafraid for a person who just had bullets whizzed by her head. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't make a lot of sense. If you go up to the top and filter by popularity, you'll see it.
Anything for the gram. Dude.
Not latest. Like if you see where it says latest right above Alex. And then go to popular. There you go. That one. So the one
page.
Yeah, the one where I was like, she's a Fed. That one, because I'm like, what is she doing there? I mean, if you guys don't remember the clip, it's like this will probably be a good way to make sure no one sees the video. But so I report. You know, I'm pretty good about saying things in a way where I'm not going to get any kind of legal, you know, stuff because all I'm doing is reporting on what other people have said online. You know, I'm not saying it. I'm like, look at, so they're saying this,
right?
But one of the things that, like, someone had suggested that she might be this person who's like in the FBI, and I didn't say that it was her. I just said, look, here they're saying it's her. It turned out I don't really know who it was, but ever since this video, anything I do about Trump is severely limited. Like
you got blacklisted.
I got blacklisted about that topic.
Yeah.
Because when I talk about other stuff, it's fine. But not anything about Trump at all. Completely gone. Like no chance of any kind of wide distribution ever.
What about Charlie Kirk stuff?
Charlie Kirk stuff, I'm good.
You're good. What is it about this? Same thing with Candace. We talked about this last time Alex was on the podcast. Their narrative, they want their narrative to stand. It's pretty obvious that they're all, you know, backing up this, like Charlie died. It was Tyler Robinson, Lance Twiggs he just confessed to all of it, which, by the way, Lance Twiggs that dude looks like a fucking handler. He knows exactly what to say, what not to say, exactly how much he needs to say. Like, what the fuck is going on with Lance Twiggs and Tyler Robinson?
When we did this last time with Alex, was that before the preliminary hearing?
Yep.
It was, huh? Okay, so the Lance Twiggs thing, from the beginning, I was like, I did a series of videos starting probably late September all the way through about mid-January, which is when I figured out what actually happened, maybe. Which we're going to talk. We'll take a look at this in a second. You guys can tell me what you think about this clip from Barron. But from the beginning, I'm like, how could you be talking so positively about his trans furry roommate 24 hours after you arrested this guy, and then immediately afterwards, like, we've got this guy, it's his roommate, it's a gay roommate, he's a furry, their boyfriend, girl, or boyfriend, whatever, and he has been an amazing help. He's cooperating. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
How could you have possibly done enough investigation? No, this guy's not a conspirator or any other, option. So I was super suspicious right out of the gate. Everything that I found out of him made me more suspicious. And then in the preliminary hearing, you find out that guy's DNA is on every single piece of physical evidence that has Tyler Robinson's DNA on it. And in some cases, only Lance Twiggs' DNA is on it. The engraving thing, like the tool with the engraver. And again, whenever I talk about Lance Twiggs, I try not to kind of mix theories, you know what I mean? But in the case of what do you call that thing? An engraver? What's the name of that?
What is
the thing they use to engrave things? It's the...
I'm not sure.
Okay, whatever that thing's called. Official story presented in court by the prosecution. Investigators found that tool because Lance told them where it was. They tested it and found Lance's DNA on it and probably Tyler's, but not confirmed. How, just on that piece of evidence alone, your central part of this story is like, oh yeah, someone's engraving the bullets. Hey, fascist, catch, blah, blah, blah. You have an engraving tool. This dude told you where it was. You identified his DNA on it, not Tyler's.
Why did they give him immunity so quickly?
That's what I'm saying. If it's what it should be.
Like, this is an investigation. They gave him immunity at the beginning of an investigation where we don't know if Tyler Robinson is the shooter. We're assuming he is, and everything points towards, hey, he was up on the roof, happened the same time, he's probably the killer, but you don't know. There could have been multiple people there. They're finding backpacks at the library with like gloves, and these are TPUSA employees. They found out that the backpack that they found was an employee's.
.223 round on another building.
Yeah, and then the latest was the who was the police officer whose battery camera or his camera died.
Yeah, that guy.
Turns out he was up there saying there was another guy, another police officer in civilian uniforms but a badge and a gun that was up on the roof with him.
And he doesn't know who he is.
And he doesn't even know who the fuck he is. But they're just sitting there going, "Oh yeah, no, it's Tyler Robinson. Let's give everybody around him immunity so they can pin it on Tyler." They're so quick to want to just pin this and sweep it under the rug. And this is Charlie fucking Kirk, dude.
Yeah.
This isn't just some random person. Like, this is Charlie Kirk. He helped Trump get elected. What the fuck?
It makes no sense. That's where I smelled a rat immediately. Well, actually, I take that back. I did not immediately smell a rat because I assumed, because the other thing was you had overwhelming evidence that there were additional parties who knew that this was coming based on their posts on social media. And so my assumption was the FBI slow playing this. They're pretending that they think that it's Tyler Robinson, and they're actually up on all these guys. And they're going to, they're going to cast a wide web, and they're going to sweep up all these motherfuckers, and they're going to ring them up. Because of course they're going to, because it's Bongino and Cash. They're best friends with Charlie.
Right.
Like how would anything else be going on? Fast forward a year, none of those things have happened. We find out they killed the investigation into international stuff. Is even as close to home as Lance Twiggs, the incredibly suspicious roommate. They didn't even, there's nothing on him new aside from the most, I've never seen a case where it was more obvious. A 12th grader who is a C student would be like, wait, that guy's DNA is on every single piece of evidence. Like, I don't understand. Why are they not ever even entertaining this guy might have done it? So it was, the whole thing has just been very suspicious in terms of their narrow focus from the very beginning. The explanation I've heard is just that they're like, they don't want to put the case at risk. So Chris Pajota is he's a retired district, division chief. So he's if you take the deputy director and the director off, he is one of the handful of guys at the absolute top of the organization. He's as high-ranking a guy from the FBI as you're ever going to talk to, who's going to be honest. And when we had a whole lot of contact because of a thing that I identified with another leftist who was on campus that day, the guy who was standing up cheering. Mm-hmm. This guy put out some very, very bizarre, what I believe to be ciphers on X. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, this is a cipher. I said it publicly. And then people started trying to solve it. And I get this cipher key from someone who had seen it. And when I plugged the cipher key into his thing, it started spitting out coordinates and dates. What? And I never told you about this?
No.
So so when this happens and we're using AI to solve it. And then I asked this thing every possible way because what had happened was everybody had gone through this and asked it a billion different ways. Is there a cipher encoded in this? It's like, oh yeah, maybe, no.
Cipher encoded in what? What's up, guys? I am proud to announce my brand new partner, Merrick Health. I've used other companies. You send them your blood. 2 weeks later, you get a call back from some lady that knows nothing about you, has no clue what we go through as men. When I called Merrick Health, I sent my blood off, same thing. But a week later, I sat in a 45-minute FaceTime with the dude that looks just like me. Okay, he's gonna get me. I'm not gonna get a new person every time I jump on a phone that's having to read notes. I'm getting the same guy, Josh, my guy. He's gonna be assigned to me for as long as it takes to reach my goals and then to stay at that level for the rest of my life. Right? He's gonna help me optimize my hormones. If I need peptides, if I need TRT, whatever it is, these guys are experts on it. They have like 140 specialists that are out there, former LE, former military. If you are interested, I hope you are. Jump on this journey with me. Go to merrickhealth.com. That's MAREK and use code SJ. merrickhealth.com, code SJ. Love you guys. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
Okay, so it's like it's this very, very long message that's talking about the difference between a liar and an oath keeper and all that, but it's incoherent. But it had a lot of weird capitalizations, a lot of weird misspellings, a lot of super weird consistent punctuation, like three periods, and then like whatever. And I looked at this and I'm like, and I remember the way that they popped the Aryan Brotherhood in the Aryan Brotherhood case where they got them on ordering murders was the two top guys were using a double cipher with like a Sir Francis Bacon thing where they would put a curl on the capitalized letters, which meant something about whatever, and then they would count, and then it would, ultimately it'd be this super long note, and it ended up meaning war on DC blacks. And that's what was
okay.
And so I remembered that, and I'm looking, I'm like, this is a cipher or something. This guy, like, he spells this word right 4 times, and then he misspells it here, and here the exact same way. This is weird.
Who sent this?
You remember the guy who, right after Charlie was shot, turned around and went, USA.
Oh, yeah.
USA, long-haired guy?
Yep.
That guy.
Okay.
So when I tried it myself, and then I had a guy who's an investigator who I'd been working with. This dude is very resourceful. And so he had tried everything to try to solve it. And he reached out to me. He's like, there's nothing there, dude. He's like, I tried. I'm like, all right. I get an email from some random guy who is like, man, I looked at his Facebook. He's like a front end developer or something. And he goes, hey man, I just wanted to let you know that I figured out kind of how to jailbreak AI, and I, gave it some prompts, and this is what came out. And he's like, I think this is what the key is. And it was like, it had to do with the capitalized letters changed to associated numbers. If this, then you add the numbers together, and then those are associated with this, that, or the other. And it was spitting out dates and coordinates. All of the coordinates were harbors. So it was like because like I'm like, what am I looking at? But it was like when we looked up the coordinates, he said he's like, this one is in Washington D.C. I was like, okay, that's scary enough. I'm going to look into this thing. So it turned out the coordinates were actually in the Baltimore Harbor, and there were all these dates. So we don't know which coordinates. There's 5 sets of coordinates, 5 dates, whatever. And as this, then once the AI, you fed it this cipher key, then it just started answering all of these questions. And it was like, here's another set of things that are embedded in this message. And we're like, what is it? What does this mean? It's like, it's a shipping container. I'm like,
oh boy, it's
a shipping container. And we've got sets of coordinates that are all harbors where shipping, comes in. But AI is ghosts in there. You know what I mean? You don't have no idea if it's just telling you what you want to hear. But it was like, it was a big enough deal, in what it's been. If I showed you the transcript between us and AI, it's literally like 180 pages.
Right.
And one of the sections was, what does this shipping container indicate? And it was like, this is a shipping container. You could tell because it starts with 00 whatever. And it was like, and this is a hazardous materials code that's embedded inside of these, that's how they come up with the codes. And it said that what it believed that it was a mislabeled hazardous material, which once a fire started, the incorrect response would be issued because it had been intentionally mislabeled. And so if you throw, there are certain chemicals, you throw water on a fire, it's going to detonate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that's basically what it proposed to us. In tandem, while this is going on, I have another guy looking into the dude who was cheering.
Wait, hang on. Did you guys go check out this shipping container? Were you able to ever locate this thing?
No, we think we located it later on a different one of the messages. And for the record, I have absolutely zero verification that any of this was actually real, but there's like a big conclusion to this story that's like, wait, what? And I'll get to it in a second. So basically, when this happened, I had another guy looking into the guy, because that guy had done 2 posts where he was like, he's like, the reason I was cheering is because of whatever, and he's reading this AI script, very weird. People bombarded him in the comments. This is right after Charlie got shot. He does a second video, and he looks like what you would write in a script for, hi, I'm a domestic terrorist. He's like, all of my soldiers keep dying and whatever. You're like, what? So when we looked in this guy's background, found out his real name, I'm going to not dox this guy. Just, if this is wrong, I've done this guy.
If he's doing all this shit, he deserves to be doxxed.
Oh, no, it already happened. But I'm saying, like, I've done this guy enough. In the event that he did not, this is not true, like, I've done this guy plenty, like, I can.
Okay.
So he was only known online as David. I'll tell you offline who he is. Okay. But he was online as David, and we found his real name, found his military. He was in a military unit. It was specifically a military unit that responded to hazardous material.
Oh, boy.
Hazardous material events or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I need to talk. So I went to Valhalla VFT and and Green Beret, and I'm like, what do I do with this, man? I'm like, this is above my pay grade. Like, what do I do with this? And he's like, let's bring in Chris Pajota. So Chris Pajota, division chief from FBI, retired. I brought it to him, and he's like, it's like a hard thing to kind of like explain. He's like, build out a brief so that I can make it digestible and I can send it up the ladder if necessary. So I'm sitting there banging my head against the wall. I'm like, how am I going to explain this? And I'm like, well, what do you do for a living? You make videos for a living explaining things. And I was like, I'm just going to make a video on it. And so I literally just made a video for the FBI of exactly how I landed on this guy, who he was, how we got here. I'm not sure what's what. Here's the list of dates. And then here's the entire transcript. Send it over. And I sent it over to him. It was about 17 minutes long. And he watched it. He's like, this is fantastic. Sent it up the ladder. It went to one of the top FBI national security guys. And I just, and then it's basically a black hole for me. I have no idea.
How long has it been since then?
That was in October. And then so one of the dates was November 22nd. One of the harbors was Los Angeles Harbor, Port of Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. So it was Port of Los Angeles, Port of Savannah, Baltimore Harbor, and a couple more, whatever. So my birthday's November 23rd. November 22nd was the date. It was the first date too. Yeah. So I get an Airbnb with my wife on the 22nd. We're still up late because we're, whatever.
It's your birthday.
It's my birthday. So I get a phone call. I look at my phone, and my investigator had called me 30 times. I'm like, what the fuck's wrong with this? What is he doing? So I text him, and I go text him and look at my text, and he's sent me this. And at 3:30 in the morning, Central, so 1:30 Pacific, they had evacuated like 10 square miles around the Port of Los Angeles because there was some kind of hazardous chemicals fire on a boat or on one of the shipping containers, and they had to take it all the way out into the middle. Like they took it miles offshore. They ended up navigating it. It was and the type of chemical it was the same. Like my guy's like, this is exactly the same thing. I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, how do you know it's the same thing? Either way, they navigated it. They didn't, nothing happened. I called Chris Pajota, division chief FBI. I called him 14 times at 3 a.m. I think he's actually Eastern time. So it's like, 4 a.m. And because I don't know, I have no idea what to do. And it's on the day. And so they ended up navigating it, putting it out. One of the guys, so after that happened, then the feds did I don't want to get the dates mixed up here, but for all intents and purposes, that's the end of the story. But
this is a crazy fucking story.
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, I know.
This is wild.
So I was never going to put that information out ever. Yeah. But what happened was the way that I gave the video to Chris for the feds is I uploaded it into a Google Drive with an unprotected link because I didn't know how, I can't
yeah,
you're
a civilian.
They have to be able to distribute it.
Yeah.
If they want to put it on it, whatever. So I'm trying to think. I mean, there was only a very.
You should upload that video.
I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a very, very select group of people who had it, but it was an unprotected link. I have no idea where it went, whatever. Somebody leaked it to Barron, and Barron, instead of just putting it out, hit me up, and he's like, "What do you want me to?" And I'm like,
Barron Trump?
Coleman.
Oh, okay.
Who we're about to watch about to watch a clip on actually shortly. But anyway, okay. So he brought it to me and was like, dude, what do I do with this? And I'm like, well, I mean, if you have it, it's going to get out.
What are the other dates? Do you remember them off the top of your head?
Nothing happened on any of them. I mean, I could look them up, but yeah nothing.
You might have foiled it. You foiled the plot.
Maybe. Well, and the other thing too is there was a takedown of some group on New Year's Eve that my investigator's like, dude, these are the guys. And I'm like, he investigates stuff. I'm like, if it is, it is. I'm never going to know. They're never going to, I wasn't doing it to get a trophy. You know what I mean? Do
you think like at these kind of like major events like this, that there is Easter eggs that are left amongst the chaos, whether it's crisis actors or whatever it is that, they're sending a message? Like the event itself is just to catch the world's attention, but within the event itself is embedded these little secret deciphers that only certain people would know, right? Because
it's totally possible.
There's always something like that. It seems like at every single crisis, there's a lot of stuff that happens that goes counterintuitive to your thinking of what would typically happen over the course of events after something like this happened. And it's always like, what is that? Why is that? People doing odd things. People like
in around, Butler or in
taking their pants down.
Oh, that I got a guess on that one.
What the fuck, dude? Yeah. I mean, that's like, it's so out there. And unless you know, when something like this happens, people's minds go crazy and they just do something absolutely insane. It's highly unlikely. Yeah. If somebody took the time to travel all the way to this event, they're hanging out in a crowd, something crazy happens, you don't drop your fucking pants and go, I did it, right? That right there was meant for somebody to see.
Yes.
Maybe us, maybe
or
somebody
a distraction
else.
on the day of, maybe.
Something.
What
do you think? What do you think happened with that guy?
So I think that might actually be the biggest clue that we have in terms of how Tyler Robinson fits into this thing. Because here's what we know about, that's George Zinn. Here's what we know about that guy. He shows up that day, right after Charlie's shot, he pulls his pants down and starts screaming, I did it. Okay, well, if he's just a crazy guy, what's he doing there? If he's a crazy guy, how he wouldn't know that this is happening in advance.
Does he frequent these political
and then he just waits for someone to get shot at once every 10 years and like he's all, I'm gonna take credit.
Now he was a distraction.
For sure.
So then give somebody some time to get away.
That's what I think too. So he goes apparently to wherever he got arrested or to the hospital, whatever, and he says that he did it because someone was supposed to give him money. Is what he says. Then he immediately gets rung up for CP on his device, on his computer. So he had CP on his computer. And so to me, you're like, oh, what was he doing there? The only thing we know is that this guy had CP on his computer. It's like, you know, I mean, if you want to make a person do something against their will, because that they have to actually take the action to do, if you have the ability to identify people who have, you know, torture kiddie porn on their computer, pretty easy way to do it.
That's You're like, easy way to bust them.
Hey guy, what do you got going on Wednesday at 10? You know,
Well,
do you want to be in handcuffs and on the front page of your local newspaper as a person who likes watching babies get killed, or would you rather go take your pants down at Utah Valley? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, at that point, he's an accomplice to the murder too, because he knew it was going to happen ahead of time.
Well, so, if he knew that was going to happen. Either way, he's done, you know.
Yeah.
But the Tyler Robinson thing as a patsy, that's why when people are like, you know, with any hypothesis that I've had where Tyler's not the actual, you know, gunman, or you know, like that there's more people involved, but somehow he's being set up. I just go back to George Zinn and I'm like, I bet you that kid had nightmare fuel on his computer.
Oh, sure.
Know? And then that's how they ended up setting him up.
Well, let's get into the latest video of him running across the rooftop and break it down.
Well, or let's watch this one first, just because I think this is actually, in reality, a much more important thing to think through in what actually happened than this. So, like, I set this up. This is Barron. He just put this up on X, and it's called his Too Many Coincidences segment. And I watched. I was laughing in my car because of what I actually think happened.
Oh yeah.
Julie and I talked about if this was just Tyler Robinson on the Losi Center roof with Granddad's 30-06. There were some of the worst coincidences of all time that took place in the moments leading up to it and in the minutes afterwards.
And my hypothesis is that these guys.
What a weird coincidence that your body cam footage just happens to die.
Well, we're on the same page.
What a weird coincidence. Nobody happened to be looking at any of the rooftops when everyone acknowledged that the rooftops looked particularly dire. What a weird coincidence that in the immediate aftermath, Terrell Farnsworth runs and jumps on a concrete embankment,
his head of AV,
and starts filming himself.
And then doubled back to grab
declaring
the
that
card.
They got Charlie. They killed Charlie. They shot Charlie. What a weird coincidence that Frank Turek just happens to pull on his hat right before Dan Flood looks at him pulling on his hat and steps forward and touches his upper arm. That's a weird coincidence. What a weird coincidence that Terrell Farnsworth just happens to stamp down on the ground for no apparent reason that we can discern right as the bang happens. What a weird coincidence that Philip Goldsberry Jr. just happens to shield his face and eyes like a half a second before it happened. What a weird coincidence that Rick Cutler tugs on his sleeve exactly as it happens. Lots of weird coincidences in that.
Plug all those into AI and have it give us the actual probability.
It's possible they are just weird coincidences.
You want to keep going with this?
But the more weird coincidences that we keep identifying, the more, I mean, and frankly, it's a weird coincidence that Charlie Kirk was supposed to be at Utah State University 20 days from now. And those are the two cops kind of overseeing the scene as it's being destroyed. That's a weird coincidence. What a weird coincidence.
That's good. Pause that. So that's another thing that Barron brought up in his Julian interview that I hadn't even seen to that point yet.
Mm-hmm.
And he said,
speak this way just a little bit. Sorry.
Am I in frame?
Yep.
So he said, what if it would have rained? You know, like, hey, what if it would have rained on the day of? He's like, and the thing gets canceled. He's like, obviously you're going to have some kind of backup.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when are you going to get him? And I'm like, oh, shit. And then he just said that right there. He's like, isn't it weird that the guys who are going to be running the Utah, you know, the next Utah one, and my hypothesis is hinged on the fact that they have a vice grip on control of the state of Utah because the other brass at TPUSA, they're LDS guys. Like they're, and
was Tyler Robinson and Lance Twiggs LDS guys?
They were they're, I mean, I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure they grew up in it. I'm not sure. Like Lance had been kind of like, according to the official story, kind of like, you know, which means maybe he was not actively in there. Tyler, as I understood it, I think was, but the guys who are really LDS, like they're not banging dudes, man. Like you can't do that. Like if you're like an actual active practicing Orem LDS member,
right? They
don't do any of those things that they say they don't. They're not like any other group that I've ever interacted with. I lived out there, and it's like the young kids, they do not have sex till they're married. They won't do it. They won't drink. They won't do any of that stuff. Those two guys, if this is what it says, like that would have been extraordinarily out of character if you have these two like furry guys and they're banging each other behind the backs of like their whole organization. But I think that they grew up LDS for sure. But
wasn't the In-N-Out burger shooter guy from the other day, wasn't he LDS too?
I don't know. I the only thing I saw was the dude in the jorts, you know, trying to take a run at that
Crocodile
guy.
Dundee, with the suppressed pistol.
How far away was he?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But did they even say what this guy's motivation was? The guy who did it, or is he just like?
Well, he was shooting up Teslas, so I was thinking maybe it was linked to Tesla.
He's like a leftist lunatic, maybe like shooting up Teslas, and it was pretty amazing. You know, speaking of that, one other thing that I think people, not to completely derail this, but one other thing I think people have not put together about what's actually going on currently is, remember how we had like, oh, there's LA's on fire. Oh, they're burning down Teslas. All of these things. There's like a constant barrage of those things. And since October of last year, none. And that is one of my key beliefs of why they did this with the Charlie Kirk thing, is because, you know, you have all the stuff about Charlie, you know, might have initiated this over which, you know, he's facing charges, any of that, whatever any of that stuff was. But what the Trump administration did immediately following it is they deemed Antifa as domestic terrorists, which opens the Patriot Act up. And they literally said, documented, that what that enabled them to do was start using Patriot Act to investigate and go after all of these organizations, including the people who funded them. And so, I mean, any of these guys are smart. You know, they're very powerful, but they're also smart enough to know, like, while they control the levers of justice, like, we need to hang back. You know what I mean? Because it was so obvious that all of that stuff is being funded. I mean, it's like, where's this going? Oh, all of a sudden, you know, Elon is knocking down your $50 billion fund. And right then it's like, we're going to start destroying all the Teslas in the world. It's like, okay, like if you understand how the world actually works, it's not hard to put together. You know
what's going on with Doge? We definitely derailed off the Charlie topic, but Doge, I remember when it came out, everybody was like, "Holy fuck, all the shit." Well, they're still finding stuff. Like I get updates on X or whatever they posted all the time, and it's like Doge finds another $50 billion. That blah blah blah. You know, and it's just like, where is all this fucking money?
Yeah, I think what Doge did a great job exposing is how the actual masters of the universe leverage the U.S. government and the way that the fiat currency and fractional banking system actually works to basically just give themselves endless money to spend on whatever their interests are without ever having to spend their own money. You know what I mean? It's like that's...
Well, so they're catching them. They're stopping a lot of this money laundering system that they've been using for years. Well, I mean, I'm glad that they're catching them, but this alarms me because they're gonna find other ways to get money.
For sure.
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not like they're just gonna stop. You know, like the money train can't stop for them.
Mhm.
If you're gonna find them on one end, they're gonna come up with another one, and I'm curious to see how that's gonna manifest in our world.
Yep. Same. And I mean, I think all of this stuff kind of fits together in a way where, like, when you really think about what AI actually is and what it's going to do, when Elon says people are not going to need to work anymore in 10 years, people are not going to need to whatever, it sounds awesome. And I actually agree with him that is what's going to happen but it's not because AI is going to give us an instant utopia. It's because our current system of how society works is going to completely break over the next 5 to 6 years. It's going to break. Like, it's going to break in a catastrophic way because up until now, it's like, you know, the reason that they implement the school system back then is because they need people that can sit in plants and work all day. That's so they do this, they get people used to it, they come in, then they work for them, whatever. As the, you know, the world changes and technology becomes a bigger thing, there's still lots of unskilled labor needs, but now you have more skilled labor needs, and that's how people go and work, they get money, they go home, they buy the things that they need. AI literally is going to do everything. There's not going to be any, I mean, you're talking 99% of things that currently require a person to do are not going to be required at all, ever. What are people going to do to live? They're not going to have jobs. They're not going to have money. No one is. It's like, even what I do, it's like, it's not going to take a rocket science as it relates to like the people who, and it might even be AI that does it. Like, the AI has the said objective of, be centralizing influencers. They pick people who have great analytics of whatever, and they just consume all of my videos. Let's say if it's going to replace me, and it just figures out my talk tracks, how I respond to things, whatever. It's 100 times smarter than me.
Yeah.
And then it just puts it on another face. They start launching another influencer, and then you fast forward 10, 15 years, there are no real people saying anything. And all of these messages are going to be tailored so that people think they're getting original ideas, and they're all getting put in the same place. To me, it seems completely inevitable. Like, that seems inevitable, that the work for money is going to go away, because what work is there going to be?
What do you think we're going to be doing then?
I have no idea. I mean, I think that we're going to end up on some kind of universal basic income out of necessity. I think that if Elon runs it, right? Let's say Elon ends up in charge of the entire thing. I think Elon is going to try to give people enough to where everyone can have happy, healthy lives and they don't have to work. And I think that if you put other people in charge of this thing, who, last time they tried to remake the world, were like, you can't leave your house, you have to get injected with this thing, you need to do that. Nightmare fuel.
Oh, God.
That's what I think is actually hanging in the balance right now, is who's going to control the AI that is going to determine the future of the world. And I think anybody who's not rooting for Elon does not understand anything about anything.
We're all basically going to have a QR code, and every time you fuck up, they're going to deduct a little bit of money, so you don't get to have as much food, or you don't get to have as much,
or you get your privileges taken away. You get to travel 3 times a year. Nope, you just lost one.
Yeah,
or you do. That actually seems almost inevitable, also, because how are you going to? I mean, I guess you still have prison. I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to solve this problem, but
this is going to be a problem for our kids, though.
Oh, well, hopefully by the time, maybe our kids, it's going to be a big problem. Hopefully by the time our grandkids are running around, this will have worked itself out, as long as we don't go to nuclear war, annihilate society in general, or this ends up becoming a vehicle where humanity stops being the.
I'm just hoping, at first I came up with this theory a while back where I was like, everything is scripted, right? Where I think just as in how, these intelligence agencies are infiltrating Hollywood and putting their fingers all over these movies and their little codes and messages in there, and their message that they're trying to push to the public. I think it goes vice versa. I think that the government, the world leaders, are using Hollywood directors to script what we see in our world. I'm hoping a lot of stuff, because the amount of coincidences we see in our everyday life, it just seems too perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too, right when everything seems like it's going to fall apart, Elon buys X, and then all of a sudden things get better, So I'm like, I don't know if they're all in cahoots. I don't know. Maybe there's none of this is true, but to me, it just feels like there's something going on.
It's true sometimes, for absolute sure.
Yeah, like even Trump, we needed that person to come in and just be the savior, but then as we've seen, it doesn't take much for that to just go away.
Yeah,
they can make 1,000 promises, they can get everybody on their side, and we're like, we're finally going to get our country back, we're finally going to get back on track as a like a world, and then just like that, we're at war again.
Mm-hmm.
Every promise that he ran on, he completely backpedaled. He completely lost it. All of his base, Tucker, Alex, Megyn Kelly, all of his biggest champions that helped him get elected, he threw him under the bus. So it just seems too fucking fake to me, dude.
I think you're right about a lot of it. I think in the case of Trump, that a lot of that is our personality defects, where he's doing what he's doing. He's doing, he doesn't really have a lot of room for like super, I don't know, whatever. He's busy. And then it's like, hey, did you see what Tucker said? He's like, well, screw that guy. He's not my friend ever again.
Yeah.
Like, it just in that one example but also like going back to what we were originally talking about, I think a lot of the stuff with Trump, like people like he retracted on every single thing he promised. It's like, well, he retracted on a really big one, an enormous one. No foreign wars, probably as high as of a priority as there was. Yeah. Like that one was really important. And if he was making deals behind the scenes of, once I win, we can do whatever, and he was getting trapped by people who were much more savvy than him in terms of how this was actually going to play out once he was, who knows. But if you think about a lot of the stuff that, that we were dealing with before, which we are completely not dealing with at all now, it's like it's so much better now than it was then for us.
Yeah.
Like for sure. And so it's like, I don't know. I mean, like there's no world where I would have voted the other way, you know?
No, absolutely not. We're not voting for lockdowns.
No. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like, again, the no foreign wars one, that's a big, you can't reverse on that.
Yeah. Seeing Fauci back in the spotlight has brought back so many memories.
Yeah.
When I was talking about that Lionsgate portal thing that was happening, it seems like, not everybody believes in, the signs and the stars and stuff like that. Right? But one of the big ones is there's like these portals where certain planets align and stuff like that. And we follow it because me and Jen are very spiritual. And like we see numbers all the time, and those mean something. Whether or not you believe in this stuff or not, I mean, there's been days where I've seen 15 different consecutive numbers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 2, 4, 4, 4, 1, 1, 1, 1, like all throughout the day. She sees them too. Like we'll just text them to you. You just happen to look at the time and like, there it is. Boom. 1, 1, 1. You're like, how does this happen? 15 to 20 times in one day, unless somebody's trying to send you a message.
I'm going to show you something real quick, just because we're talking about this. Look at this. This is look at my wallpaper background. You see the numbers?
555666. Yeah.
So yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
that's my wallpaper.
There's something there. I believe in manifestation. I believe these all kind of go hand in hand. I think we do manifest our own reality. I really do. And it's all about the way you think about your life and what you expect. But it's also about seeing the finish line and then knowing it's there. Like not just thinking about what it might look like, but feeling it, tasting it, smelling it. Like what is that going to feel like on the inside when you're there? And then don't worry about everything in between. That's kind of the theory that we run behind. But so we follow that. There's all these accounts online where you can follow, and they tell you when there's a big gate portal that's opening up, and one just opened up. It was the day the trial with Anthony Fauci started. That was the start of the biggest manifestation day of the year around the world. And
what about New Year's Eve? Is that a big one?
I think I'm not quite sure about that one. But see if you can find it. So
like this last New Year's Eve.
Yeah, so this is the end of the Lionsgate portal is August 8th, but the beginning was just type in when was the beginning of the Lionsgate portal. And it's the same day that Anthony Fauci took the stand. And I think they're distracting people from manifesting a better world. I personally think, because the only thing that it could really piss everybody off on a day where manifestation is at its highest point, if you believe in manifestation,
which I do,
portal open July 26th through the 29th. and it closes on August 8th. Okay, or actually, portal closes on August 12th. Go back up to the top. This is explain what it is here. The peak manifestation day of the 2026 Lionsgate portal is August 8th. This year holds special numerological significance as a rare 888 energy alignment, the 8th day, 8th month in 2026, reducing to an 8-year. But yeah, so we both saw this coming because we both follow a lot of accounts, and it was like, here it comes, like, get ready, like, set your intentions, like, be ready to manifest and with positive energy and thinking. And sure enough, the day this fucking thing started, Anthony Fauci's ugly fucking face was plastered across news, media, everywhere, social media, and everybody. We're like, I even sent her, I'm like, they're trying to fucking break people from manifesting. Either that, or like, if this is the biggest manifestation day in the world and you believe in this stuff, they put Anthony Fauci on there to piss off the entire fucking world. Think about that. That means the entire world is collectively manifesting more anger and resentment.
Him pleading the fifth, too.
You don't think they know this shit? You don't think that they fucking realize that this stuff, there's something to this? Whether or not we understand it completely, manifestation is real. It's been happening for a very long time. Like the biggest billionaires, some of them, the most productive people on this planet, they all credit what they did and what they accomplished to manifesting. So it's like, whatever you believe is fine. That's between you and yourself. But this stuff works. And if there's billionaires, fucking Kanye said he manifested everything. There's so many people that say they manifested everything. These were regular Joes that figured out a way to break the system, and now they're fucking manifesting a different reality for themselves.
You just have to believe it. That's like believe it.
Yeah.
Like is how. But the other side of it too, though, the reason I showed you that, I asked about New Year's Eve, is so something happened on New Year's Eve in my life that was the most. I don't know. Like, sometimes I feel like I'm in this thing, and there's God or whatever else is looking down, and it's like, this dude he needs someone to kick him in the side of the head. And then it's done in a way that's so clear. It's like, this is directed at you, you stupid fuck.
Yeah.
That happened to me on New Year's Eve in the most,
look up the significance of manifestation on New Year's Eve.
And then I was so overwhelmed and like shaken by this thing. And I went to my numbers, and it was 555666. And I took that screenshot because it was like, and it also there's something else in there that was there to remind me. And I didn't even really think about the fact that it was 555666. I've known it's there, but the reason I put that on my screen was to be like, don't you ever forget that this happened.
Yep. So that snapshot you took on your phone, that was from New Year's?
That was from New Year's Eve, during the day after we almost accidentally burnt the entire fucking state of Texas down in an accident that like was like, there's no way to even possibly explain how big of a catastrophe this would have been had we not gotten saved from it at the very end. And like,
what happened?
We were out at my buddy's ranch, and we were shooting, and it was New Year's Eve, and we just had a firework turn into a fire, and it was like, there's a lot to it of how I knew this was directed directly at me, and I'm telling you, like, if this fire gets to the tree line, the level of catastrophe is not verbally explainable. Like, it was so dry, the fire moved so fast. The tree line, I had driven through 2 hours of nothing but brush. This thing exploded instantly, 8 different fires all at once. It's the only time in my life when I've been running around and I've been like, this has to be a dream. Like, like when you're dreaming, you're like, I have to be dreaming. Like, there's no fucking way this is happening. Only time that's ever happened to me when I was awake. And the whole time, I almost died. I took I went and got a bucket like this big, and he's got water there. I filled it up, and like I fell into the brush, completely surrounded by fire.
Oh shit.
And I remember that moment very specifically because I was like, I know exactly how much, if this does not put out this amount of this fire, we're fucking finished, dude. And I threw the most flawless, perfect fucking throw of how I could have visualized it, and it did 10% of what I needed it to do. I was like, we're done, dude.
After spending years in the military, I've learned your gear has to work every single time. A holster isn't just about comfort, it's about retention, durability, and knowing your firearm is exactly where it needs to be. That's why I'm excited to partner with Invader Concepts. Their holsters are built with that in mindset, and the quality speaks for itself. If you're looking for a dependable everyday carry or duty holster, head over to Invader Concepts and use my promo code Sean15 to save 15% on your order. That's SHAWN 15 for 15% off. Enjoy the show.
And but one of the guys had called instantly. You know, they're like, how big's the fire? He's like, it's the biggest fucking fire you've ever seen. Bring everybody. So they ended, like, as the fire truck come in, and I'm looking where it is, and then I saw that they don't look as concerned as they would be if they were going to lose control of this. It was huge, dude. But they came out and they put it out. Like, I have a video. Once I knew it was over, and I'm like behind it, I'm just like, you know, going like this just to show, because I could show my wife like how big this fire was. In the back, you can hear me like, because I had been at a full sprint for a solid 50. Shit, I don't know. I know what my general maximum cardio output is, you know, because I do jiu-jitsu a lot. Like, I know how much pain I could take before, like, I start really breaking down. I went so far past that in this incident that it's like, because it's the only situation where if this goes bad, this is unfathomable. I'm thinking like, this dude whose ranch I'm at is gonna burn his house down, and that's the least of my worries. And he is the dude he'll fucking kill me to make sure no one talks about this, because the whole state's gonna burn. All of that's going on in my mind, like, where is, you know, and all of that the whole thing was a very specific and obvious message that was like, look, it had to do with me and my wife, where it was like, look at what you're doing to her, you fucking idiot. And it was like, fuck. So, and then I just, you know, there's a lot to it I can't talk about, but like.
So tell me about the message that came to you. When did that message hit?
Immediately afterwards. Like, as soon as it was over, I thought through how it happened, and I was like, wow, okay, well, that was fucking not very subtle, you know? I'll tell you about it offline. Like,
yeah, what was it? Like a message of like, be careful.
You are not taking care of your fucking wife, like, at all. Wow. This is your fault.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Did it sound like it was coming from like God, or
it was just the situation was so obvious, like, where it was like, this is, you know.
Are you religious?
Yeah. I mean, you know, like,
spiritual moment?
I mean, we take the kids to church, you know, but but I've always felt like I have a very, very direct connection to that guy, you know? Yeah. But with stuff like that.
Do you feel like it's like one person, or do you feel like it's a intelligent universe as a whole?
Both. Like, I feel like, in situations like that, it's always felt like one thing, like, this is a message from one person to another, or one, you know, where it's like, that's the most extreme example of one ever. But at the same time, I've always figured out that, like, if I can put myself into a place where I absolutely immovably believe in an outcome, that it's going to happen every time. And those are kind of disconnected ideas in my world for some reason.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a paternal figure that's kind of in charge of everything. But then I get the opposite when I'm doing mushrooms, and it feels like a feminine presence. I don't know, man. The whole thing confuses me. That's why I love talking to people about, what is your idea of what is going on.
Have you ever done Ibogaine?
I've never done Ibogaine. That's the one I haven't done. Have you?
Yeah.
How long was your trip on that?
13 hours laying on my back in a bed.
Now, how was it? Because I heard people say like it wasn't that bad. Other people say it was horrible.
It depends on why they're doing it. You know, like I was doing it for, you know, I want to learn, but more so, I need to get off fucking opioids without going through 3 days of eye gouging horror, you know? And
did it work?
Yeah.
Wow, we just had on Evan Slaughter on the podcast last time. He had a huge opioid addiction as well. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
I like, to me, I've never understood how that issue is one that people are like nervous to talk about. You're like, dude, if you're an athlete, you never had an injury where they fucking gave you Vicodin. And if you're wired to get hooked on opioids, you're gonna get hooked.
They used to hand it out like candy back in the day.
Yep. And I just don't see anything about substance abuse as something to be ashamed of, because it's like, if someone's like, oh yeah, I've never tried any of that. I'm like, what the fuck's
Yeah.
never? You fucking weirdo. What's wrong with you?
You're either lying or you just haven't fucking lived.
Yeah. Like what's wrong? Like how is your life so fucking perfect, you geek?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's how I think about it.
I
But,
feel the same way. But I've never had an opiate addiction.
what happens if you take Vicodin? Like how do you feel? You fall asleep, throw up, or have energy?
I just fall asleep.
Yep.
Like
so you're not wired to get hooked on them.
Yeah, but Evan, the little fucker, he's like, oh no, you just have to push through the sleepies and then you get to the euphoric state.
No.
And I'm like, shut the fuck up.
That's incorrect. There's 3 types of people. It's literally genetic biology. Either they throw up, they get tired, or it gives them energy. Energy addict. And that's like easily a third of people are wired for addiction to opioids. The reason some people take them and they don't is only because they're either a sleep person or a vomit person.
I see.
Yeah, you'll never get hooked on opioids. You have no risk whatsoever.
How long were you hooked on it, and then how long has it been since you got off?
Man, I mean, so the first time that I got hooked on them was like right after college, you know, because it's one of those things like you never had any access to them. So it was like when I was in college, oh, I got my wisdom teeth out, or oh, my friend got his wisdom teeth out. So you'd have like 4 or 10 or what it's, you know, you're not gonna get hooked on that. But right after college was still in the like anyone can get as many as they want. However, and I finally had money, and you could literally order Norcos off the internet. And so I lived with a guy who's now dead, fentanyl overdose. Who's
rest in peace, brother.
Yeah, he's one of those like super high functioning like opioid addicts. Like he'd be sweating through his shirt. He always made more money than any other person that I worked with, always. But he was just a raging oxy Norco addict. And so he figured out that there were these sites you could just call or, you know, order it, and then they would call you, and you'd have an over the phone consult, and you'd get 90 Norcos a month. And you can do that as many times as you want with all these different sites. It's unlimited if you had money.
Wow.
So 1 year out of college, I was a complete sniveling Norco addict, like complete. And so that's the first time that I quit, and I quit without knowing anything about what opioid withdrawal was actually like. And so I cold turkeyed off of, I don't know, maybe like 140 milligrams a day, something like 14 Norcos a day, something like that. And with no help, like nothing, just like I didn't know anything about, you know, like we're equipped for RLS, super helpful. Melatonin, so you can at least get like 5 to 10 minutes of sleep at a time. Sometimes I didn't know about laying in the shower. I didn't know any of that shit. It was fucking indescribable hell. Like it just like you can't even imagine. And people who have never gone through it, it's like the only way I know how to even describe what opioid withdrawal is like is if someone said, "Oh, okay, you're addicted to this now. Would you choose to give every dollar that you have and let a Mexican drug cartel drill fucking spikes through your feet, and then you have to sit there while they smash your toes into oblivion for an hour, or opioid withdrawal?" And you're like, smash my toes, like smash your fucking toes.
Holy fuck.
Like fucking spikes to the floor. You're like,
that bad?
That bad. Yeah. If it's short, if it's an hour.
What is the experience? Like what is so?
It's like, you ever have restless legs, like RLS, like where you can't move? Take that feeling, multiply it by 2,000. And then, and you can't hold still for 4 consecutive if someone was like, I need you to sit there still for 10 seconds. Like 10 seconds, fucking not just like can't do it, completely impossible. Cannot be done. Impossible on a level that is just like cannot be done. You know, it's just it is and you're simultaneously like take the worst flu you've ever had and multiply that by 20. And
how long does this last?
Depends on what type of opioid it is, because it's about the half-life of the opioid. So like, as I understand it, fentanyl is pretty short, but horrific. Anyway, the one I know really well is like Norco. So like Norco, which is Vicodin, is you could set a fucking clock to it on my system. It's 3 days. It's like if you know I go cold turkey and don't take any on Thursday. First day with taking none, I'm going to be in withdrawal by about 3 p.m. the following day. So like I didn't take any Thursday, like Friday, 3 p.m. is when it's going to start where you're going to go, oh God, you know, you're going to feel it coming on, but you're going to be in full throttle withdrawal 3 p.m. the following day. And so that's Friday. So then you go Saturday, 3 p.m., that's day 1. Sunday, 3 p.m. is day 2. Saturday, then that day's worse than the first. It starts to lighten up a little bit at the beginning of that 3rd day, but it's still awful. And then you're like, I don't know. And for me personally, which has always been a benefit because this is not how everyone is, it would be like, it's over. And it would just be over. And whatever part of my system that I had been shutting down turns back on to an 11 immediately. And I'm like, whew. Like I remember the first time, I was so fucked up. My parents even came down and they had just watched me, and I can't even imagine what that would have been like, me watching my kid go through that, dude. But I went from, we don't know what do we do, to I was repping out push-ups, and I'm like, I'm going to go do all the stuff that I hadn't done in the last year, I'm going to do it all in the next 2 days. And they're like, dude, take it easy. I'm like, no, you don't get it. Like, I shut my life, whatever I am has been shut off. I'm on now.
Yeah.
And so it just turned right back on, and I felt the best you've ever felt in your entire, I felt the best I'd ever felt in my entire life. The problem though, is that you feel like that, but now you have to get into a normal biorhythm where you can sleep. And you can't sleep. You can't, for weeks, you can't sleep. So you feel good, but you can't sleep. And, a lot of places will be like, oh, start taking fill in the blank, medicine to make you sleep. And you're like, I don't want to take medicine, but you can't sleep. And so it seems like the withdrawal period would be the hardest part, which but if you're, you're a fucking Navy SEAL, you get through it, but and one thing I never did, I never once, out of all the times I went through that, which ended up being a lot, I never tapped out, never, not one time. Every single time that I started the withdrawal process, I never was like, give me a pill and I get out of this. Cause you can take a pill and you're out of it anytime.
Yeah.
But so after that first one, I was clean for 5 years. And dude, you could have thrown me in a bathtub full of Norcos. You want to talk about fucking message? I'd been an addict, dude. So I'd been going to the hospital trying to think of reasons why I would need Norcos if for whatever reason I was out of them. They never give them to you. Because I had been in withdrawal, I'd been laying in the shower for 3 days, and I'd let the water that's the other thing. If you let hot water run over your body, that's the only relief that you'll get and it's not total, but it's a huge difference. So I'd spent 3 straight fucking days, anytime there was hot water available, laying in the shower, and I had gotten an ear infection from the water just pounding me in the ear. So I go to the doctor. I'm like, yeah, I think I have an ear infection. He's like, I'm going to write you a prescription for some Norcos.
Oh, fuck.
I swear to God, that actually happened. And I'm like, no, I'm good, dude. No Norcos. It's literally hey, this is not a test, dude.
It was a test.
Get the fuck out of here, dude. I'd gone 0 for 30 on that. And then I come in for right. Or it might, who knows? Could have been a message of it's like a wink. It's like, hey, you don't want these, right? It's like, no, I don't fucking want those. But 5 years afterwards, I got a Pseudomonas infection in my eye, which is one of the most, what's the word for something that eats your flesh?
Infectious. Or
So my dad's an ophthalmologist. First procedure he ever did was removing a person's entire eyeball from a Pseudomonas infection. So I got one of those, and the pain was indescribable. And so I was at the doctor, and this thing's literally eating through my cornea. And I just grabbed, I was like, I need something for the pain, man. You have to give me something for the pain. I was so frantic. The guy gave me a prescription to whatever, hydrocodone. Boom. Next 10 fucking years, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off, on, off. I probably did the withdrawal thing I don't know, a lot of times, 12, something like that. Because I wanted off, but it's I could never get through the part where I couldn't sleep. And then I did Ibogaine, done.
One and done?
One Ibogaine and done. But also I started, I microdosed mushrooms for a couple months afterwards. And that's what finally stuck.
Yeah. Fuck, that's an incredible story, man.
Yeah. But the Ibogaine experience, like you asked originally.
Did it help you sleep? After doing the Ibogaine, were you able to sleep?
Not very well, but I also was, God. So in that period afterwards, I had never taken psychedelics and gone to the gym before. And I can't even explain to you how much I loved going to the fucking gym, take take a gram of mushroom. You know, I said microdose. I was like, nah, not so micro, but like also not like shrooming all day, you know? So I'd take like a half a gram or something like that.
It's a micro.
Yeah. So then I would go to the gym and oh my God, bro. I would just be there just like for hours. There's nothing else I wanted to do. And so even though I couldn't sleep, I would just be looking at the clock and I'm like, I can go work out at 7. You know, like it's going to open at 7.
A new addiction.
Yeah.
A good one.
A good one. Yeah. So that got me through, but it was still awful. I mean, because the RLS that's one of the reasons you can't sleep. The RLS is unbelievably challenging to deal with because it's not like when you're in withdrawal, but then you have
what is that?
RLS, like the restless legs. Like it's
okay.
That's what keeps you up. It's like you cannot sit still.
That's the worst for me. Yeah.
You can't get comfortable. You know, if you have RLS, shit. If the opioids agreed with your system, you'd have the same stories.
I had to take my wallet out of my back pocket. I can't keep because that gives me restless leg syndrome.
Yeah,
it's the fucking worst. Dude.
Yeah, it's awful.
You can't sleep with that.
Yep.
Is that why? So that feeling is why you couldn't sleep, or was it just you couldn't sleep?
Probably both, but the RLS is what you experience because it's so uncomfortable. And then, but also with the RLS, you can't just even sit still and like watch a show and be comfortable. You can't be comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I take kratom, which is. It's like, it's not, I don't really even know. It's a plant. It's not technically an opioid, but it kind of hits opioid receptors. I don't know. Like that's a very controversial thing. Like a lot of people are like, oh, this has saved my life. And other people are like, dude, I couldn't quit, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point I'll get off of it. But like.
That's over the counter, right?
Over the counter, yeah. And, but at the end of the day, it's like, I am positive that it does. Like every time that I came out of one of those experiences, I said the same thing. I was like, oh, I turned off my light. Like I have a light inside of me that has been off since I've been, and kratom dims it significantly for sure, but doesn't turn it off. So I don't know. Maybe at some point I want to go full throttle.
Learning how to operate. Well, I mean, some of the most amazing people out there, their engine runs on high. Like they run high all the time, and they need something that kind of like that feels like that kind of like settles them down a little bit.
Exactly my life. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Alex is the same way. Like his motor, when he's on, dude, it's like, fuck, dude. Like, like settle the fuck down, buddy. But he doesn't have that. So he has to get that from something else, like having a drink or, whatever it is. Yep. Where it's like most people are like, why don't you just quit? Like you don't have an engine that revs like that.
Yeah.
When you have that, you'll understand. Because it'll just keep revving like that and until you fucking like collapse. You know what I mean? So you need some sort of release valve. Yeah. And unfortunately, some people, certain substances work for them and doesn't work for other people.
Yep.
So I don't judge anybody that's had vices, but I do respect the fuck out of people that were able to be honest with themselves and then try to fix it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not perfect, at least you're trying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, it also, I think so much of that issue is genetics. And because there are drug addicts and there are drug addicts. There's a huge range. Because even when, I'm for sure in a I've been a drug addict enough times, it's like, come on, guy. But I never had my life fall apart. Like I was like, I have a job. I do this. I do this. I do this. Also, this is going on. Maybe I'm operating at, top level, maybe not. But I'm not like, but then there's people who are like, they can't keep a job. They crash their car. They're like bottom. They're like, their bottom is going to be a fucking dumpster, dead in the dumpster where I don't know if that's what it is, but like my bottom was like, oh, I can't accept that. Like, oh, I lost a job. Okay, this is over now. Like that's my fucking bottom. Like you got to be out of your, like I have to be operating here. I'm responsible for people. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's what it is, but all I know is that the Ibogaine plus the microdose is the only thing where I was able to kind of put that to the side. Mm-hmm. And
where did you do the Ibogaine treatment?
In Mexico.
Okay. Do you remember the name of the facility?
Dude, someone just asked me about that. I don't even know if it's still open, but I found I did research for someone else who was asking me about it. There's a place.
That's fine.
I'll tell you
I'm
what.
just thinking so people that are out there can, get help if they need it. There's plenty of them down there now. Like Mexico is where you're going to go if you're going to do Ibogaine.
For sure.
I think they have some clinics in Peru too. I think that's more ayahuasca though.
Yeah, ayahuasca is very different than Ibogaine. Ibogaine, it's like your experience. I can tell you, like hey, what's mushrooms going to be like? You're like, depends on your environment, depends on the person, depends on the dose, depends on all. Ibogaine is going to be the same every time. You are going to be taken on a very long journey, which is going to be a 100% audit of you as a person, period. Like there's no way around that. That is what it's going to be. And people will experience that differently, but like there's nature is not part of this experience. This is like, are you curious about what kind of lies you tell yourself or who you really are? Or like what kind of, like what has created this life that you have? Like for me, I also, like in my case, I've always metabolized things very slowly. And so like when I did the Ibogaine, it took so long to hit that they were like, what is going on? We're like, how is this not working? And they could tell because you're hooked up to an EKG. And so, I mean, we're talking an hour and a half after I took it, I was still just kind of like, it's not working, right? They're all, it's definitely not working yet. So the way I knew it was working was I was transported into an experience that like, I won't be able to get through this story.
Is it like are you seeing visuals?
So
is there a change in color filter?
My entire color filter went maroon. All of it. Everything I saw was in maroon. It was like, I'm experiencing these things, but it was like, actually, you know what? The way I experienced this was like, I was basically on a ride that was like a Small World. And like, it was like I was floating down a river.
Disney World?
On like a barge. It was, like that, but like on a barge. And I would look to my right, or Pirates of the Caribbean, I would look to my right, look to my left, and it would be something like, and I would go, oh shit. And it was like, as soon as I focused on whatever that was, it was like, I'd go, and I would just get sucked into this, like whatever that chapter was. And then I would come out, then I would be back on the river, like it's an African shrub is what it is. And I am telling you, I was going down the thing and I looked and there was another one coming this way. And it was a black dude with dreads with sunglasses on. And he looked at me and just went like this on the way by. And I was like, I don't know if that's a spirit or if this is because I knew it's an African shrub, but whatever that was, that person threw a nod at me and was like, hey, have a good, hey, you having fun yet?
That was Ibo.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I thought it was a bark. It's like the bark from the tree, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, the first that I went down was me in a sparsely kind of sparsely furnished apartment, looking at a TV that was not on the ground, looking at my phone.
Are you looking at yourself from the outside,
no,
or are
like
you
this.
POV?
POV.
Okay.
And it was an Instagram post of my wife, my kids, and another dude.
Wow, like a warning.
No, like this is a future that would have happened.
I see. Holy fuck.
And it was like very, it wasn't just like I'm seeing it. It was like, I remember it like a memory.
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing that, dude. That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's also very humbling too, because like I can talk about any of the other stuff, just not that one. But
no, that's fine.
Like I remember I had just watched this documentary about the Challenger shuttle. Did you ever watch that on Netflix? Challenger shuttle,
the one that blew up.
Yep,
on launch.
I watched that the day before I went in there, like while I was down at the place. I thought about that documentary, and there's this guy who had to make the final decision on the shutter, whether or not to send it up because they knew they had the O-ring problem, whatever. And it's this one guy who made the final call. They went up, all of them die, right? And I thought about that, and I just went down this whole thing, and it was like, what decisions have you ever made that have had any impact on any serious impact on a wide range of people outside of you and your tiny little circle? And I'm like, none. And it was like, that's a guy who makes decisions that matter. You make no decisions that matter to fucking anyone. And it was like,
holy fuck.
That's what it's like.
Serious fucking realization.
That's what it's like.
Wow. So it's like you're getting messages from somewhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah. But it shows you what you need to see. That's why I saw that first.
Yeah.
That's why the first thing that I went to was that.
I feel like, that definitely feels like paternal in a way. Mm-hmm. Mushrooms are very similar to where they give you what you need, and you're not necessarily what you want. You might not even like it, but it's going to force you to have some serious, to me, mushrooms are more about like what you're feeling, not necessarily what you're thinking, but what your body should be feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And like for me, when I take mushrooms, if I've been working too much and just like my head down and just constantly like grinding, I might do mushrooms and have the time of my life. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like, dude, have a little fun. Like it's like the life is all about balance. And so sometimes it'll do that, but it also sometimes if I'm just like staying up too late or I'm you know having too much fun, then it'll give me the exact opposite and it'll make me feel like shit. Make me feel like just yawning, nonstop yawning, makes me want to go to bed. So I feel like it's the maternal. I feel like mushrooms are the maternal. Yours sounds like a more paternal, like it's like the father that's like not gonna, you know, hold your hand while they chew your ass out. They're gonna tell you exactly what you're fucking up.
That's it's not there to there's no massaging in there.
Yeah, I've always stayed away from it just because I don't want to travel to Mexico and it's such a long trip. I don't like long trips. I like kind of like shorter ones. I've done some long ones, and it's like I always end up when I'm in there and it's at the peak of the experience. I'm like, why the fuck did I do this? Why do I keep doing these things? I don't want to be.
Oh, like have you done
balls.
ayahuasca? Have you done the ayahuasca ones?
I haven't done that one.
Oh.
No, I've just done DMT and mushrooms.
What was the DMT? I did the toad. I've done the.
That's the same thing.
But there's the
5-MeO and DMT.
Yeah, I did the 5-MeO. I haven't done the
5-MeO is just the synthetic version of DMT.
opposite. I think I did the opposite, and I did not do the synthetic one. I did the other one,
You did the real one.
the real one. Yeah.
Yeah, so same thing, same experience. That's more of like you're getting the real thing.
Yeah.
If you did that one. What was your experience like?
I just ceased to exist completely. Like it was like I went into some place where I like there's no me over there. In the place that I went, there is no me. It's just a bunch of like I remember hearing this noise that sounded like a and it went forever. Like literally it went forever and I could see the sound kind of. And when I came out of it, they told me it was me that was making it. I was like, I was doing that noise the whole time.
Oh.
And it was me hearing myself in this endless thing. And one thing that I got out of that one was after I had the heavy experience and I came out and I was kind of like, you know, where you're like kind of half in and half out. I made a serious realization about something that was forthcoming in my life that I had been intentionally kind of in denial about. And I was able to navigate that because of that moment. Like that was actually really, really valuable.
Yeah.
These guys were going to fire me for sure. They were setting up to fire me and take this team. And I was just I don't know if I was in denial about it, but when I came out, I was like, oh shit, this is for sure happening. And I went and literally I ended up getting fired 2 days after I signed my deal with my new company. So it ended up not being, it would have been a huge problem. But outside of that, yeah, like, I don't know, I think for people who have a lot of trauma, I think that the 5-MeO is very valuable for some people.
Well, it's shorter acting, but to me, it gave me an appreciation for just like being alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big problem. I think when you have people that abuse substances, it's typically because they don't appreciate being alive and just being sober-minded.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a luxury that the majority of us take for granted. And people are constantly looking for an escape from just regular reality.
Mm-hmm.
And that's unfortunate. And I don't know why it is. I don't know if people get bored with their lives. Because I do too sometimes. And I think that they find themselves stuck in situations where they don't know how to entertain themselves. Like the older we get, I see it a lot in like older populations, middle age, especially in men. Maybe because I'm a guy and I can recognize guys' behavior and when it changes and stuff like that. But a lot of people close to me, they used to be so much more vibrant and energetic and happy and smiling and joking when they're younger. And it's like the older they get, they just get cold, or maybe not cold, but
they've got their light turned out.
Yeah,
they got their light turned out.
But it's still there. I just feel like they lose hope that they can do anything about their circumstances anymore. And I don't know if that's that's just because of this system that we live in, the government and the powers that be keep us in this monotonized world where it's so hard to get ahead. Even you make a little bit more money and then all of a sudden the cost of living goes up and the cost of gas and groceries skyrockets through the roof. And you're like, I don't know if the system's intentionally designed to keep people like it's never quite enough. And maybe they do that intentionally to make sure that we are constantly working hard.
Yeah.
And they need the slaves to keep fucking producing more and more and more and more until we die. I feel like that, honestly, I feel like that could be a part of it. I mean, I don't think they factor in the kind of destruction that they're doing to the populace mentally. I don't think that's at all. I think production supersedes human, like the joy of just being alive, and I think that's very unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I think that's why you see people getting hooked on different substances, because they're just not happy.
Yeah.
And I wish there was a way we could, send that message out to the world, like, there's other ways to make yourself happy. If you're not happy in your circumstances, there should be outlets for them to try something new, or, and that's why I always tell people, stop chasing that pension. If you're fucking miserable in your life and you're like, well, if I just stick around for 7 more years, I can retire. You're never going to be happy. Even when you get that pension, it's not going to be enough money, because the cost of living is going to have gone up to a point where, how many, like, I would love to take a poll of all the retired people that chased a 20 or 30-year pension or whatever it was, and then now they're on full retirement. How many of those people are actually happy? I'd be so curious to see that number, because that would definitely be an eye-opener for the people that are in that pension chasing mode right now.
Yeah.
Our days are packed. Podcasts, travel, training, and Jen's always in the shop, grinding and working around metal. We're constantly exposed to stuff in the air, in what we touch, just day-to-day life. And even if you're a little off, you feel it. So we keep things simple. Train hard, eat clean, stay consistent. And we use Masterpiece Zeolite as part of that routine. Zeolite is known for binding to certain unwanted compounds, helping the body process and clear things out more efficiently. For us, it's about staying clear-headed, keeping our energy up, and not letting that daily exposure slow us down. Nothing overcomplicated, just something that helps us stay on point no matter how hard we're pushing. If you want to check it out, go to masterpiece.health and use code Sean.
I think the answer to that, so the video I put out 15 minutes before I got here is where I talked about how the AI conversation we were having, about how this is going to happen. People are, no, there's not going to be work. They're not, like, this is going to happen. And I'm like, what people need to start getting their brain wrapped around is that the way we live now is fucking insane. It makes no sense. Like, the example I give is, it's like, okay, well, so I don't have as much money coming in. I can't afford my bills. And it's like, well, you have a brother, his wife, and their 3 kids. You have yours, your wife, your 3 kids. You guys are independently paying this. You have 4 cars. You have 2 houses. You guys live 2 states away. You're sending your kids to like colleges out of. It's like, this shit's fucking crazy. Why don't you guys just get one house?
Yeah.
Like, you guys vacation together in a 4-bedroom house, and somehow you're the happiest you are all year. And yet the rest of the time you're like, you're slaving over whatever, and you live 2 states away from your brother and your kids' cousins are all the way over there.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is just consolidate the families. Your bills will be 30% of what they are now. And all you have to do is just accept that you got fucking mind fucked into living this way somehow.
Exactly.
Get rid of that shit. Live with your family. Oh, that guy lives with his parents. Get the fuck out of here, dude. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, get your fucking family together, and it solves all of the financial problems. It's like, yeah, oh, my mom's annoying. Okay, well, fucking, you know what's more annoying than that? Going to fucking work 60 hours a week, so that you can afford to be away from her.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?
And the gap in between what you can buy for $1 million or less versus what you can buy for 3 or 4 million, right? So if you were to combine incomes, we thought about this too. And like, instead of everybody trying to make it on their own, pull your money together. Nobody buy a house yet. Everybody just stack money, save money for a deposit, and then pull your money and say if you had 4 families that each of them qualify for, we'll call it $1 million. Okay, you qualify for $1 million loan. What you can buy for $4 million property versus what you can buy for $1 million is insanely different. You're talking about, you could buy fucking 100 acres with multiple homes on there.
Yes.
Right? There's so much you can do with that. And now you're living together as a community. You're splitting, like you said, you're splitting all of the different utilities and stuff like that. So, like, I mean, obviously some people don't want to live with certain family members. Like, we get it. But you make sure you buy something where you're spread out enough to where you can have your peace if you need it.
And you just also think about, like, it doesn't need to be family. Like, to your point, if you have people that you're like, there's no world where we're ever going to wish that we were not near these guys. These are our best friends. We fucking love these guys.
Yeah.
you know, and that way also, like if you're thinking about the future and being close to city centers is not a good idea in the way that you see where things are going to go. Well, and you also are a little nervous about being in total isolation. Well, now you're not in total isolation. Get a ranch. You got all these. You got multiple families. You guys can address problems together. This is the way people are supposed to live. This way that we do this now is not how this is supposed to be done. And you can look no further, again, than the idea that it's normal to pay extra to send your fucking kid across the country to some call. What are you doing? Why? Yeah. Why is that even an option? Like my wife and I would never do that, dude. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, we want to go to, we're going to go to school in New York. Be like, fuck you, you're going to New York. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, of course we're going to get you educated, but like you have Baylor, you have here, you have here, you have figured out, dude. Yeah. Like I'm not willing to completely pass my child on to a world that I have no control, no influence, no ability to help, no ability to influence. When she's 18, she's 14 right now. You think she's gonna have shit figured out in 4 years? You're fucking right, dude. I don't even that. That is like the perfect example of like everyone just accepts like, okay, yeah, this is what you do. You're like, why? Yeah, why? Why do you do that? They're like, well, it's just what people do.
Sheep mindset.
Exactly.
Yeah. Let me take a leak real quick, and then we'll close it out. I want to get into that intelligent training we were talking about before.
Oh,
the
podcast. Yeah. Let's do it.
Yep. So before the podcast, Jesse was texting me this morning, and he was talking about intelligent training, which is a fairly new term. Like most people haven't really heard about that because the world for all of its faults, especially here in America, like, everybody's pretty healthy for the most part. I mean, there is some cities where they're very overweight. San Antonio, I'm sorry, but you are one of the fattest cities out there. But when we're talking about training, we're not just talking about training in the gym. We're talking about training for the future and what's to come. Because a lot of times people get stuck in these ways where they're using an outdated training model and they're expecting that to hold up. But as we can see with the war in Ukraine and with Ukraine and Russia, the battlefield is changing before our eyes. Mm-hmm. And there's drone technology out there that is absolutely insane, and it's only getting better every single week. And so if you're not adapting your training regimen to the future of warfare and especially cyber warfare and what's to come, you're way behind. I'm sorry. And so, one of the things that Jesse brought up, and as soon as he texted me, I was like, that's brilliant. We've never talked about that on this show, but it is probably one of the most important things because a lot of people that watch my show, they are very concerned with preparedness, not just for themselves, but for their families in the future. And obviously the direction that the world is heading, all it would take was one nuke to set things off.
Oh God, man. Yeah.
And we're always closer. And I know this is kind of like always getting said, oh, we're always close. We're always close. The world's always falling apart. But I feel like just because it's always being said and it's always the end of the world, it's always this, always that, does not mean you stop staying prepared. So why don't we play that video? So
this will fly out. This will fly on X and Instagram. Oh no, go ahead. I was just gonna say this video. We're good on Instagram and X. This will get demonetized in 15 milliseconds on YouTube. But
so should we not play this?
Well, just I would say throw like a censored, or we could describe it actually for YouTube and then just throw a censored. But if you show it, it's just because it's a drone that's gonna blow a guy up, and so. So this guy's trying to hide like around a vehicle, and the drone is chasing him around the sides of the vehicle. You can tell it's just trying to get close. It's got an explosive on him.
This guy actually survived.
Yeah, he got very lucky. He is not well prepared, cardio or physically at all. But I don't think that would have helped anyway.
The fact that he survived that is insane.
I think it detonated just barely on the side, like on the corner where a lot of that impact hit the very top corner of the hood of the car, I think.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know, because like that, if that would have been open air, that's going to probably take him out.
Well, let's break down where he failed in his training methods. So
first, that's you, man.
First off, the dude's severely overweight.
Yeah.
Go back and just show like a still frame of this.
Hey, look at how look how that type of motivation. Yeah, like that guy hasn't run like that in forever. It's like as soon as he's facing that, he's gonna run until he can't.
Yeah, I mean, dude, this drone technology is wild. How far away can they control those drones? Do you know?
I don't know.
I think what they use, they have like these mothership drones that'll hover, and then they're relaying from the mothership that goes down into that. But I'd be curious. I'd love to get somebody on the podcast that is more savvy on the latest drone tech. But as you can see, this isn't the DJI fucking drones that we're playing with. These things are like pretty heavy duty. They're big. They can carry big payloads. And the drone operators are only getting better and better. Boom. And then when they hit that dive bomb, it's game over. Like I get.
Oh, is it this? They hit it and then and detonates. Is that how it works?
They're just following this guy, waiting to get a position, and then they're just hammering down on the joysticks and dive bombing into him. I mean, they're soldiers. The typical ones I see, it's always the Ukrainians successfully drone attacking Russians. But I mean, these guys, they are expending all of their ammo. You were talking about skeet shooting, right? Mm-hmm. And how you can like go skeet shooting to start preparing it for this if it was to come to America, which this could happen any fucking day. At least
you've got like a better chance of shooting one down, maybe.
Yeah.
But the ones I saw on Grantham, they were trying to shoot them down very, it seemed very challenging. Those things seem super fast. I don't know if they're, I don't know, having a scatter gun ready for that. I guess you just have it with you, you know, or whatever. I don't know. But I don't even know, like a bird shot's not going to take one of those down, I don't think either.
Yeah. I know some of the latest tech that they have is they can now launch counter attack drones at the drones that are coming in, where they're on some rail, and I don't know if it's more of a drone or more of like just a small fixed wing device, but it's way cheaper than a lot of things. But then these things are able to actually lock onto its exact position and take these things out. But in terms of being prepared, I would at least have a plan, right? Obviously, we don't have drones attacking Americans here in the U.S. yet, but it's always a possibility of what could happen later on.
If the government falls, we're going to be attacking each other, and so drones are,
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, this dude needs to be in shape. I wrote down a few things here, just as far as like if you were going to be concerned with intelligent training on for you and your family, PT, cardio. Obviously, that guy failed there. Medical training, right? So if you don't have a tourniquet in your med kit, if you don't have a med kit, you're wrong. You're like you're so far behind the curve. Everybody needs a good med kit, and you also have to keep a med kit that's not expired, because a lot of this stuff, I've seen med kits that are like over 20 years old just sitting in somebody's thing, and it's like these guys are hunters.
What else is in there besides, like, I have tourniquets and stuff in my car, but
you got gauze, you got bandages, you have all sorts of things. You got trachea tubes, like if you in case like something happens with your windpipe or gets closed off. You have like those pressure release valves, so if you get
jam it in or whatever.
If you get shot in the lung, pull up one of those. Actually, a good buddy of mine, he's got a good company. I'll just give him a plug. Uncharted Supply Co.
Dude, if you do a course on how to do all that stuff, I'll take it for sure.
Yeah. Tension pneumothorax is a big issue with some of these guys. So like if you get shot in the chest cavity, right, you have to understand your entire body. You have your head, you have 2 arms, you have 2 legs. Those are all, if you get shot there, it's basically you're gonna tourniquet, right? If it's possible to tourniquet. Everything within your chest, this is a pressurized cavity on your body. So it's blood and air from your lungs in here, right? So the only way, if you get shot in the stomach or the chest or whatever, in the lung area where the fluid is around the lungs, imagine your lungs, it's like these 2 little, imagine like 2 whoopee cushions, okay? You know what a whoopee cushion looks like without air, and then when you blow it up, so when your lungs expand and contract, there's a bunch of blood and fluid in there and pressurized areas. So if you get shot in the area around your lung, not necessarily in your lung, but even the area next to your lung, you've now created an opening within a pressurized valve. So what happens, and this is how people will die. So if you don't have a chest seal for that area, every time you breathe out and your lungs contract, right, air from the outside environment is sucking into that pressurized area, and now
that needs to remain clean at all costs.
Right. Yeah. The infection is obviously another case, but the people will die. Not necessarily. You might be able to survive this, but here's the thing: if you get shot in there, and now air from the outside environment is getting sucked into the cavity around where your lung is supposed to expand, eventually that air will create too much pressure around your lung, so your lung can't open up.
That's so it collapses, and it gets stuck together, right?
Well, it's just like like if it's contracted and then air fills in around it, now it can't open up all the way. So you see what I'm saying? So having a chest seal in your med bag, that's super important. It's got to be sticky. It's got to be something that's going to work. You have to know how to handle this stuff. If I'm somebody and I want to be really prepared, I would buy a really good tactical med kit. I would buy 2 of them if you have the money and practice with one. Watch training videos. There's tons of stuff online. If you want to learn how to tourniquet properly, how to set up your tourniquet. A lot of people, they buy a med kit and their tourniquet is still bandaged up in a plastic bag sitting in this thing. They have no idea where it is within the bag, right? If you get, and it doesn't even have to be a gunshot. You could take a wrong step and you could cut open an artery in your body and now you're bleeding out and you don't know, or you could fall and hit something on your, And so like, if you don't know how to use it, you have a golden window after something crazy happens and, call it 30 seconds. Okay. Like if you hit one of the major highway artery veins, right? You have like these smaller veins that got to go everywhere. Those, you can just bandage them, tape it, and you're going to be fine. But these major arteries that come through here, down here, you can look it up on a map. Maybe you could pull up a picture of that, Mitch, where it shows like the main arteries in the body and how they run down the body. There's 2 on the inside of your legs that run down here, down your neck, obviously the carotid arteries, down your arms in here. So when you hit those, you have a very short window as to you got to cut off the blood. There you go, right there. So those are the scary ones. If those get hit, you have a very short amount of time to stop the bleeding before you pass out and then die.
Yep.
So you need to learn how to use a tourniquet. And then also having a tourniquet in your bag is great, but if it's not set up right, so they always come like the manufacturer setup. So what I'll do is I'll take it out, I'll try it, make sure I know how it works, and then I'll set it up. I usually keep 2 different ones because the 2 main areas you're gonna have to tourniquet is your arm and your leg. So
you do it in between your heart and the wound, right?
Yeah. Well, you do it. Yeah, exactly. So like if it's always above, right? You're going to go above it.
Okay.
That's just, if you remember that as a line of facts. If I get shot in right above the knee, I'm going to tourniquet above that.
How far above, or does it not?
About 2 to 3 inches above it.
Okay.
Is what you want. And here's the other thing. You can keep as many tourniquets as you want. Sometimes you might need, if it's a big, heavy dude and he's got big fucking thick thighs, I would put 3 or 4 fucking tourniquets on there. I would, because, the first one might stop it for the most part, but then it's not quite all the way and I can't crank on this fucking thing anymore. Put another one right above it. Put another one right above it until it stops. And then also set your tourniquets up for success, right? They never come loop through the loop, right? They always come just like strewn out. So loop it through there, set it. Okay, if I have to tourniquet my leg or Jin's leg, I want it to be this big so I can slide it over, tie it. And then you crank on that thing until it's ready. Same thing for the arm. I'm gonna have it a little bit shorter. So you're trying to shorten the window of time that you're gonna need to stop the bleed.
Yeah.
Because you have a very small window with this stuff, and we kind of take it for granted. We're not built to withstand stuff like this. So I would definitely have like a trachea tube. If something happens, like you could fucking like jiu-jitsu. You could accidentally fucking karate chop somebody by accident trying to break your fall or whatever. You could pinch off somebody's trachea, right? Like people have died that way. So know how to use a trachea tube. You might be the only one in there. Keep a can of Narcan in your system. You don't know. Like just because you don't use drugs, somebody near you might use drugs.
And that'll save their life.
Yeah,
for sure.
Or if
it's the right drug.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or if we have some sort of chemical attack and then they're putting airborne pathogens in the air that are, fentanyl will fucking kill you. Right? Just even a whiff of that stuff, if you ingest it, it could kill you or somebody you know. So I would just say take an inventory of your med bag for sure. Know where it is. Know how to operate it. Make sure everybody within your family knows how to operate this. Like, well, what happens if dad gets shot? Who's going to save dad? Right? So, and then also have a plan if and when something was to happen that was catastrophic. How, like let's say, armed intruders break into your house and you get into a gunfight and then a couple people get shot. What are you going to do? Are you going to run and grab the bag? The fight's still going on. You're not going to do that. You're going to win the fight first. Okay. You're going to win the fight. Make sure all the bad guys are either dead or they took off. And then after I win the fight, then I'm going to go address everybody. Right. And it's self-aid, then buddy aid. Okay. So The fight's over. All right, we have no more threats. I'm going to take inventory of myself. Pat yourself down. Sometimes you have gunshot wounds and you don't even know. Most gunshot wounds or GSWs that I've seen, the person doesn't even know they're shot. Okay, so they get shot. I mean, it's happened to some friends of mine. They died, and they finished or they kept fighting because they didn't know that they were shot until they died.
And the adrenaline kept them from feeling it.
No? Exactly. Yeah. And so take inventory, pat yourself down. If you have any plate carriers or anything that are in the way, I check everything. All right, I'm good. Now go address everybody else. Like, are you good? Let me pat you down. Turn around. Let me make sure you don't have any gunshot wounds. Okay. And then, like I said, know your med bag. Know how to use it. You should be practicing with all this stuff. And if you're not, then you're wrong. Mm-hmm. That's very simple. I think medical training is one of the most important things people can do to be prepared, and teaching your kids how to do it. Because if I get shot, one, my kids don't know where the med bag is if I didn't tell them. So, and then how can they help me? I mean, they might not be able to put the tourniquet on me, but they can go run and grab the bag, right? And then just knowing your windows of time, right? Like there's like the golden hour. So immediately you need to get a call in to get like an EMT or some sort of life support, CASBAC or whatever coming to your location. You have an hour. Even if I do everything right with my med kit, I have an hour before this gets to a level that I can't do with my med bag, right? That's when I need to get IVs in me. I need a professional here. So, you have 3 minutes to go without oxygen, right? You have 3 days to go without water, and you have 3 weeks to go without food. Know those. Teach your kids those things. It's all little things. It's just learning. Know how to navigate. What happens if your phone's GPS doesn't work and you can't use Google Maps? What are you going to do? When's the last time anybody ever looked at a map?
A paper map? Not very often.
Yeah. How do you navigate using the stars, right? Yeah. How do I find north if it's nighttime, right? Follow the Big Dipper. The Big Dipper will lead to the North Star, right? If you, the way it was taught to me in the military was if you follow the handle, imagine a marble rolling down a handle into the pot, and if it rolled all the way out, it'll point to the North Star. At least now I know my cardinal directions. The other day we were talking about, or we were out, I think we were up in Canada, and I was like, I forget how the conversation came up, but it was like, they were like, how do you know what direction it is? I'm like, well, the sun's setting over here. The sun's west. It's so simple, but it's not that these people don't know it. It's just that they don't train with it enough.
They probably just don't think about it.
Right. How do you find water? Right. Okay.
Well, that one, I had no idea what the answer
you just look at the terrain. The biggest example is like, just look at the terrain. If we have mountains, we know that mountains are carved by water, right? Stuff like that. So if I have two mountains on both sides, down at the bottom of that crevice is most likely going to be some form of water. That would be a great place to start. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then filtering water. There's a lot of natural filtering processes that you can use using just dirt, pebbles, rocks, different sizes of these things. You just create like create a box, fill it with different layers of sediment of different sizes. If you have dirty pond water, you pour it into the top. It'll filter all the way through all of those different things and give you some sort of purified water that is good enough to drink.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember when that plane crashed in the Amazon, and it was like an 8-year-old, like it was like maybe the oldest kid was like 10, and there were like 2 or 3 other kids that survived. They found them weeks later, and the kids had made it because those kids had lived, they knew how to live in the jungle. Mm-hmm. And I remember looking at that, I'm like, how complicated could this be if a 10-year-old took care of a baby in the Amazon for 3 weeks? Like, clearly there are some simple things that I don't know how to do that I could probably learn pretty easily, and I still haven't.
Yeah, it's just a matter. We're all busy. We don't have a lot of time, but that's why I'm glad you brought this up, because we do have time we create content every day. So there's no reason we can't work this into what we're doing.
For sure.
Constantly trying to be better. The other one is communication. What are you going to do when the cell phones go down? Right?
My family's got a plan for that kind of thing.
What is it?
We get back to our house, no matter what. That's where everybody's going.
Okay. But I mean, as far as communication,
we have short form or whatever,
like radios. Walkie-talkie type stuff. Yeah. So, but that's good. But how are you going to radio out further? So, like, if you have friends in the area, how can you guys communicate? So,
we don't have one, but I like one of those box. What do you call them?
Exactly. Yeah. One of those. They're like a CB, basically. Yeah. Like everybody knows the CBs that the truckers used to use, like whatever. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So they make like home versions, backpack versions of those, and you can radio out very far distances. You can communicate with like you don't need anything. You just need line of sight, and that's a great way to communicate with other people in your area. Maybe I can find. I'll find a website for a good company that sells those. But I mean, these things are like the technology has made them a lot better now. Like you can almost get to the point where you got like straight line, perfect communication with people when shit hits the fan. And I got some buddies that they're already locked into a grid. Unfortunately, I never did it because I couldn't afford this thing back then. But I'm gonna get on that now that we mentioned this. But there's always ways to communicate, and it's also like radio. They make radios now with a turn thing, right? So you don't have to have batteries. You don't have to have electricity. One of the things that you'll be able to do you're gonna want to do during a crisis is listen to the radio, because that's gonna be where you're gonna find out what's going on.
I have solar generators.
Yeah, so that's perfect. But you're gonna want to have a good radio, like an old school radio that you're gonna hit the dial, like go to AM, whatever. Eventually, you're going to find one it's going to be like an emergency channel, and they're going to tell people what's going on. How many people out there don't even have that capability? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what happens if their phone dies? They don't have any electricity. You have solar. Most people don't. Most people don't even have.
I have gas and solar generators. But
most people don't even have a generator at all. So think about that. There's small little generators that you can buy. They take a little bit of fuel, a cup or 2 cups of fuel. And now you got power for a few hours. Okay. You fill it back up with fuel, do it again. If anything, you can at least charge your phone so you can like try to use that for something, but just something to think about. The next one I wrote down was situational awareness. And this is more of like noticing the signs before something happens. If your head's in the sand, you won't notice anything. But if you start to notice things are, everybody has had a moment in their life where they had this like little spidey senses going off and the hair standing up on the back of their head, maybe right before a car accident or something. You're like alert, and then something happens. Like that's your intuition. So you need to train with that though. Like it can't just be you're going to rely on it to work every single time. So look for signs, look for things in your neighborhood. If something seems out of place, if there's a car that was there that wasn't there, it's never been there. Whose car is that? Most people just go, whatever, and they let it be. But go ask somebody. Talk to your neighbors. Get to know them a little bit. Doesn't mean you got to be best friends and have them over all the time, and especially if they're annoying. But you should have some sort of relationship with your neighbors to the point where you guys have swapped information in case something happens. Not that you need to open up a crime watch in your neighborhood or anything like that, but if something's odd, you should be able to reach out to people and they'll help you out. So situational awareness is very important. If you see people acting differently or more erratically, or somebody that's typically out is now pulled back, what's going on? Are they okay?
I feel like a lot of times too, people prioritize the wrong things in those situations. Like I have a wife who weighs 110 pounds and 3 daughters, and like if we're out doing something, like this actually happened very recently. We were out in our neighborhood on those wheels. We were, the wheels we were talking about. And this guy started absolutely hammering his horn and screaming out the window at some guy in a truck. They were, we were pulling up to that intersection. I just stopped and I was like, you stay right here.
Yeah.
Like, you guys get behind me, whatever. They're yelling at each other, fight, whatever. And then I'm looking around at all these other people, they're a solid 50 yards up, maybe 40, whatever. And I'm looking at everybody's just acting like they don't want to look. They're like, oh gosh, it's uncomfortable. I'm like, what if these guys start shooting at each other?
Yeah.
Don't prioritize politeness over safety of your family.
Exactly.
I moved my family back this way and into that parking lot where there's no line of sight. And they're like, my 8-year-old's like, Dad, you're right. It's like, you're not in charge of safety. You just do what I tell you if this thing like that happens. You know what I mean?
Oh, that happened. We were in Memphis. I want to say this was like 3 or 4 years ago. We went to Memphis for 4th of July. I hate Memphis. I don't know why we were there. But we were at Elvis Presley's, I forget the name of it. Say again? Graceland. Yeah, we went to Graceland. They had a free fireworks show there. And so I had my truck, and I had like my kids and all of my nephews and nieces. They were all loaded up in the back of my truck watching the fireworks show. In front of us, there was, this 2 black families that were in front of us, and they were just drunk as shit, playing their music really loud. All of a sudden, this fight broke out, and this white woman comes up, and then they're in a shouting match, and like they're going back and forth during the fireworks show, and it was getting like super heated. There was like verbal threats that were going down. Same thing. I was like, everybody off the truck now. And they're like, but the fireworks. I'm like, I don't care. Get off of there. get back in the truck just in case. Like that's just being proactive. That's having situational awareness that, hey, look, nothing's happened yet, but this could quickly turn into gunshots getting fired. And they're 15 feet away from us. That's not going to happen. So if you're going to hurt feelings, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like you're in charge of your family. If you're in charge of your family, that means making the responsible decisions.
Priority one is that.
Exactly. So they'll get over it. My kids don't even remember the damn night. You know what I mean? But I do, because that was a definitely a learning situation. Last two I got are like cyber. Cyber is constantly changing. So cybersecurity, know where you have vulnerabilities within your own system, whether it's your cell phone, your laptops, or whatever it is, your home system. A lot of the products that we keep in our home, they're made in China. They have chips in them. They have cameras in them. All of these devices, you have these like robotic vacuum cleaners. These things have like chips in them that are made in fucking China.
Just assume you're being listened to all the time, no matter what. But
the new iPhone has a chip that was made in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember the exploding pagers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You heard that they gave Trump a golden pager to, I'm like, he took that, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. I know.
How is he interpreting that exactly?
Yeah, exactly. We don't want to think that people are this fucking dumb, but people are that fucking dumb.
Yeah.
And don't be one of the dumb ones. Okay. So something might not ever happen with it. That's great. Don't be one of the ones where if it does happen, you're going to be another statistic. So
I would be like, thank you. And then I would go put that golden pager like in the shed inside of a explode free box or whatever. It's like, I appreciate that thing, dude. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm just going to leave this far away from people.
Exactly.
They can't listen or blow up on us.
And I'm guilty of it too, like taking convenience over, safety a lot of the times. Like if something is more convenient, makes my life easier, it's very hard for me to say no to it because time is so valuable in my world. But if you don't have to have a certain device because you're not quite sure the cyber security thought that was put into it before this got just marketed across the world, then do without it. If you can, do without it as much as you can. If it's something that you have to have, then, I guess have a plan if something does happen with it. Maybe where you store this thing, right? Yeah. So we don't know what these people are capable of.
Yeah, one thing on OPSEC too, on technology that I learned the hard way is that I thought that if you check where an email came from, and like let's say it came from youtube.com, and you know that is the YouTube email, you're like, oh, okay, everything's fine. That's not true anymore. I got by a youtube.com email address that framed itself as a message from the CEO about the new partner program monetization thing, and it was a fish, dude. And I got, and then because it was asking me to enter in some code to do it, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I did. As soon as I did it, I was like, oh fuck, and I sent it to my guy at YouTube, and he's like, that's not us, man. And I'm like, how did it come from a youtube.com email? It came from a youtube.com email.
I'm sure there's a way you can like probably upload this into something that'll verify.
Probably AI now, but
and then the last one I had was stress, and just training under stress. I think is very important. Like jiu-jitsu training, it's constantly putting you in a stressful environment where you're having to make decisions and think and move intelligently in these like under stress environments. I think that's very important. And the older people get, we're definitely not doing enough stress training. If you're training at the range, when we go to the range, me and Jen just went a couple days ago. I put her under stress training. I'm like in her ear, move, let's go, and I'm having her take shots, find cover, wait for me to give her a signal, move, and then she moves to another spot, take shots, move, and so having somebody in your ear, that is the best way to train you and your family, is just rinse and repeat, keep training under pressure. And then like one of my other big ones is if you're going to go to the range, just because you're going to the range, do not just do static training. If at all possible, some ranges don't allow you to move around. I get that. Find one that does. Okay. Find an outdoor range in your area that you're allowed to move around, because there's never going to be a gunfight that you're in where you're standing like this. Bang, 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 high port. Okay. That's not going to happen. A real fight is going to be, holy fuck, brandishing my firearm, taking shots, going to find cover. All right. Learn how to manipulate your body and your movement. Like, how do my legs move? How am I going to run with my gun? One of the things Jen was doing was I had her take shots, and then I wanted her to go run to cover, and she's running with her gun like this. And I'm like, when are you going to run with a gun like that? You're never going to run with that. I'm like, put it in one hand and fucking run. You know what I mean? Like, so, but you don't learn these things until you practice them. And then you realize where you can make mistakes. Like, videotape yourself. We all have cameras here. Even if you're by yourself, set up your camera on a tripod or whatever, and then click record, and then run through a few drills. What would I do if I was in my vehicle and a gunfight broke out and I was the only person in the area that was trained and ready for this? Okay. How am I going to get out of my vehicle? Where do my feet go? How am I going to leave the door open, or am I going to shut the door? Okay. After I take my shots, what am I doing? Am I going to move behind the vehicle, take cover, reassess the situation, call the cops from the safety of this? The other one is like getting behind cover in and of itself. A lot of people, I'm like, same thing with Jen. Like, I'm like, take cover behind this barrel. She goes and gets on a knee beside the barrel. Okay.
You're undercover from someone over there.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but they don't know that. They think, because they can't apply it to a real world situation because they've never been in it. But then you explain it to them and you go, you're taking cover and you don't have to be right up on the barrel. You can be back as far back as you need. As long as the barrel is between the threat and you can move around. If that threat's walking, you have an active shooter and he's just pacing back and forth and he's ready to kill somebody, you could be moving behind the barrel with him as he moves. You could be on the phone with 911. You could be putting it on speaker, setting it down on the ground in front of you. You could be press checking your barrel to make sure you have a bullet ready to send if you have to use it. Okay. Like all of this, I could be directing people behind me, like stay back, whatever it is. So practice those situations as often as you can afford the time and the money to do it, because that could be the difference between whether or not you or your family lives or doesn't. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by Grizzly Coolers, the only cooler I trust when I'm out there. Roto-molded, bear-proof, and holds ice for 10 days straight. And unlike the overseas knockoffs, every Grizzly is proudly made in America with American steel and American grit. Hit grizzlycoolers.com and use my code Sean, that's SHAWN, for 15% off. Grizzly Coolers, built here, built tough.
Dude, one thing I just realized, like if I can hit the head, there's a clip that which is going to be, I just realized this too. Like we didn't talk about the roof thing. There's conflict in the Charlie Kirk conversation about that move, the movement that the guy did, like the side crawl, whatever, like whether or not that actually is a military movement. I commented on it because it's nearly identical to a jiu-jitsu knee cut. And if you just throw some white belt out there, you're like, okay, just do knee cut from here to there. There's no fucking chance. So I don't know if that, if the, what your comments on that would be, but let me hit the head super fast.
And we're back.
Yeah. So when you look at this thing, the big conversation back and forth between the people who are selling the main narrative and people who are skeptical has been around two primary movements. Number one is, well, not this exact clip, but like when you go forward where he drops down into a crawl where he's got
go to the left. Yep, that one.
Yeah. So Candace called I can't remember exactly what she called the movement, but it's like right here when he starts to get close enough, he's going to drop down and he's going to do this crawl, which she claimed is a form of there's like a military technique. He's got
like a low crawl.
Yeah. So
okay.
Again, my
he's on his back right here
and moving directly backwards. Actually, dude, I haven't even seen that part.
Okay, now he just rolled over onto his stomach. It looks like there's a sniper mat that he just threw that they found on the rooftop. Okay, now he's crawling up to it.
Now the way that he threw out that mat, to me, I was like, that looked either lucky or whatever, but he seemed to have, because, I assume that a sniper has to have a technique where they're going to throw something out they're going to be laying on for a long period of time without being seen. It seemed like that guy did a pretty good job throwing it out, but I don't know if that...
Why the sniper mat, though? I mean, did they find a bipod on this rifle?
Oh, no.
No?
The rifle, literally the rifle, so they said it was a Mauser from World War I, World War II as a relic. The picture that they showed is of a rifle that looks identical to a Ruger American, or the idea that it was some unique rifle. The one that they showed a picture of is a huge gap in what the official story.
Where's the rifle? There's no rifle in the video.
That's exactly what we said.
Yeah, play it again. Okay, first he's running. Looks like he's got a fairly heavy jacket on, or a poncho. Looks like a fucking Mexican poncho.
And also, I don't even know where the verification would be that this is even on that day.
Okay, so he's doing that forward low crawl. Looks like he's done that quite a few times.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
If I saw a person do that, I'd be like, that's it. At the very least, a mid-tier blue belt who has done a lot of drills doing knee cut pass.
I see. Okay, so then he crawls to the left. Now he's on his stomach, low crawling forward, throws out the mat. Where's the rifle, though? He just lays down on it.
He lays down on the mat. There's no there's no rifle there.
Yeah, you would see a rifle, and then the background's white, so you would definitely see a barrel of some sorts in front of his face right there.
Yep. And then there's also, when he gets up and moves, like, where is this supposed shot?
Yeah, there's no muzzle flash. There's no muzzle flash,
and there's no impact from any recoil.
There's no
or anything.
rifle. It's almost like he got up there to get a good vantage point to watch the show.
Or someone was like, "You better be up there, else we're going to show people what you did." Make sure you go up there, make sure you get into a prone position, and then run away.
You know what he looks like to me? It looks like he's a spotter for somebody else.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
All right. In the military, you have your sniper, but a lot of people don't realize you have a spotter that's up there also.
Dude, go back right there to the way that he gets up. It's super weird. Like, first of all, if he has if he just right to the part where he stands up from his prone position.
I think this is on Instagram, so you can't move it.
That's fine. But yeah, so I mean, when we get to it, like, getting up from positions like that, again, jiu-jitsu is like one of those things where these are like kind of, I'm very familiar with positions like this, and it's like, okay, so if I'm getting up from there, I would do a combat, well, actually it doesn't matter, but where the way he gets up, I'm like, how would he have done it that way and also picked up a very large, heavy rifle? I don't.
Right, but we had the video of him getting off the roof, and there's no rifle, right?
It's like you can't,
or like in a towel. Is that what it was?
There is a towel. If it's there, it's very hard. It's like there's certain little areas where you're like, maybe that could be one, but I don't. I mean, this one, where is it? Well,
first off, when you look at pictures of Tyler Robinson now and then, the dude is like 160 pounds soaking wet. He's super skinny, not athletic at all.
No, yeah.
And when I'm looking at this person on the roof doing these athletic movements, I'm like, that is not Tyler.
Yeah, watch when he gets up, and you tell me if this, like, just imagine that he has to be picking up a large 30-06 rifle in order for this to, like, where's the rifle right there? Where is that? Where is it?
Yeah, there's nothing. He's carrying, looks like a bag, something swinging underneath him. He's got a backpack. Yeah. I think that's that black backpack that they got. Yeah, to me it looks like it's either a decoy. Maybe they made him go up there and do this. Maybe he's spotting. I don't know what it is, but I don't see a rifle.
What about that crawl? Is that crawl something that is like that's not like a known technique?
Yeah, just like we were talking about training for intelligent training. That would be a move that you would do. Right. So that would be something that, like, listen, I've gone through military training. I was a breacher. I wasn't a sniper, but they would put everybody through a miniature version of sniper training, just so if something happens to the sniper and one of you has to pick it up, you kind of know what to do. Some of that stuff is low crawling. Some of it is finding a place to hide and taking cover while people are searching for you, stuff like that. So, and that's all low crawling. That's like on your belly. Let me tell you something. That is hard shit to do. Mm-hmm. Like, you walk around like a monkey for fucking 5 minutes and you'll see how hard and taxing that is on the body. When I'm looking at this, whoever this person was, I don't think it was Tyler. I don't think Tyler had been trained in any of that unless I'm missing something. I haven't heard anything in regards to his tactical training, but whoever was doing those low crawls was doing it with ease.
Okay. So to make sure, because I live in this world every day, I just want to make sure that I am communicating, that I quote you the right way. You're saying that whoever is on that video clearly has military training in a low crawl position, and that crawl is a very real military thing that people train.
It's always possible somebody could pick that up in the heat of the moment, maybe figure out how to do this, but it's going to take a couple different tries. The average person who's never done this before, they're going to jump up there, they're going to try one thing and realize, oh, fuck, that sucks. Let me try something different.
He went straight into it.
They might grow. Yeah, they might go through 3 or 4 or 5 different things before they get to something that works better for what they're trying to accomplish. Mm-hmm. What you see there is somebody that's done this before.
And that is something that you train in the military.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Snipers do that all the time. Like they might be low crawling on their belly or side crawling or whatever, front crawling, back crawling, whatever it is, for, I don't know, an hour to get to a position. Mm-hmm. Right. So, but I can tell you just from like looking at that video, that is not, that guy looked bigger than Tyler. Like his body posture or composition or whatever, silhouette, like that doesn't look like Tyler's skinny little twig bone.
It's also definitely not, nothing's definite, but it doesn't look like the outfit of the suspect that they showed.
No.
But you said, so that movement, when he starts to go like that, is something that is trained in the military.
Yeah.
Okay. So because that's the reason I keep coming back to that is because you have a group that I don't ever personally refer to them as this because I don't like using terms everybody does, but they're referred to as the Fed sloppers, where no matter what evidence comes out, they will always like minimize it and then try to delegitimize. And they're like that. That's that's some kind of thing you have to train. And I'm like, Steven Crowder said that, and I'm like, isn't Steven Crowder a jits guy? And he is. He's a purple belt. He shouldn't and I'm like, you know that's the same as a Nika. You're not gonna have some first day guy able to do that.
That looks like a jiu-jitsu move on the mat. Yeah. Right? This looks like somebody that's trained in either jiu-jitsu or has sniper training of some sort. Yeah. But I'm just looking at his position on the rooftop, and it feels like how good of a vantage point would you get from there? He doesn't look like he's at the edge of the roof.
That's exactly what Valhalla and Elizabeth Lane were talking about. And then Trigger Smart, apparently he did a film analysis of this, and he somehow was able to verify that he would have a vantage from that position, but I don't really know how he did it.
Okay, because it looks like he's away from the edge of the
It looked like
roof.
He moved backwards.
Yeah, well, he's moving backwards, and then when he played again, when he hops to his stomach, he crawls forward a little bit, but not to the edge of the roof. Right. And that's where I'm like, first off, if you're not at the very edge of the roof, even if you were at the edge of the roof, at the angle that the shot was allegedly taken, you would be almost up like this, right? Because it's not a straight ahead shot. And so he would have to be propping himself up so the rifle could tilt down enough in order to get that shot off. You'd almost be up on a knee, I would think, at that point. Yeah. I'd be curious for somebody that's listening or whoever to break down the angle of the shot and then what angle the rifle would have had to be in that specific instance in order to take the shot. Because maybe you can look at Google, see if you could Google what angle the shot was that allegedly shot Charlie Kirk.
Because where Charlie was, it's in a bowl, So I mean.
Yeah,
because I heard that building's not as tall as it seems. But the thing is, there's that video of the guys who are on the side of the building. They're all, is that a guy up there? And then he gets up and runs. I had someone reach out to me. They were like, hey, are you willing to sign a thing to make it to where grok won't, the spicy grok won't create naked images of people? And I was like, spicy grok makes naked images of people? Shit, son.
Spicy
grok. Why didn't somebody tell me about that shit?
I like that, spicy grok.
Yeah, I went and tried it, and it doesn't work. So I'm like, I don't think you need anybody to fucking sign any, sign anything. Do you know what I would do to get put in a room, in a quiet, like in a secured room, just me and Charlie? I would let them strip me naked, put me in a towel, and I just want to be like, I just want to know what this was like for you as all of these things developed. If I'm right, and it's like, what was it like once this happened? Like, what was going on? I bet you I've always thought I would get along with him very well.
Well, I'm sure he will. I think he was an amazing human being. I didn't know him personally, but like from what you could see, like he seemed like a very nice, genuine guy that was willing to listen to people, which is kind of rare today. But it's unfortunate that we still have so many questions that don't have answers in regards to Charlie Kirk, and it's unfortunate that they're just trying to shove the Tyler Robinson narrative down our throats still to this point after there's so many things that have been uncovered.
But for the record, I just realized I was like replaying that in my brain. What I meant by strip me naked was if he was alive and they wanted to make sure I wasn't recording my conversation with him. That was what I was talking about, just so we're clear.
Why do you have to be naked?
I don't know. I was thinking because you would think they'd have to have crazy OPSEC. He doesn't know me, dude. You know what I mean?
No, I'd love to have a conversation with him after the fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because one of the biggest questions I would ask him is, how do you feel about the way this investigation has been treated since your murder? I think I'd be very curious to see what he thought about his government and this administration that he helped get elected, and how they handled this whole situation, or just continuing to handle it, because I think that would be glaring. And then I would ask him, I'd follow that question up with another one, and I'd say, if you had it to do all over again, would you still have made the decisions you made, knowing that this is how they handled your own death?
Yeah, that question would apply to a lot of things, I'm sure. But yeah, and like, yeah, because again, there's just like those blaring pieces, and you're like, why is his inner circle not interested in this clear issue?
Or your wife? Why is your wife getting a selfie video of her at your casket and putting it out there for the whole world to see, wearing her big fat gold rings? And
did you tell her to do that? Because that was not a good idea.
Yeah. Can you imagine if you died, you're in your casket, and your spouse uses that as an opportunity to blow up?
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm just like, only explanation is they're trying to sell it. That's the only thing that I can make that make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the whole thing is so bizarre, man.
Yeah. It's bizarre, but this was a fun podcast.
Yeah,
brother.
It's good, man. Do it whenever you want.
We caught up. I'm sure in another couple of months, there's going to be so many more questions.
Yeah, dude.
The good thing about Candace is, regardless of what you think her intentions are with this, or her motives behind all of this, that girl can investigate. And she's got a lot of people that are sending her stuff, like all the good stuff.
Yeah, and she's so good at taking whatever it is and then just delivering a narrative, and you're like, I don't know if I believe it, but I can listen to it. I can listen to an endless amount of it, dude.
Yeah. So keep doing what you're doing. I hope your motives are sincere.
Yeah.
And keep doing what you're doing, brother. You're out there like doing God's work, and I truly mean that.
Thank you very much. Same.
Tell people where they can find me.
My channel, Jesse on Fire, on YouTube and on Instagram, X, and the others is Real Jesse on Fire. And I actually stream live on X quite a bit now. So
boom. I know I need to get to that. If I can ever quit my day job, I'm gonna do so much more. Can't wait.
It's fun, man.
Anyway, thanks, Jesse.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?